When I first heard about black tourmaline from Miss Star of Stargazer Philippines, I didn't know that there was a deeper understanding to be had with crystals. In this episode, we have Jen of Clear Space Manila to talk to us about her experiences and knowledge about crystals. We talk about her crystal journey, the difference between raw and polished crystals, and how she used a Lemurian crystal to help her with her intergenerational karma. Enjoy. Actually, marami sa amin are interested in, of course, crystal work and mineral work. Pero I'd like to ask you, for you, when did it start? I mean, I saw that you mentioned in your Instagram that you started with being a mineral collector.
First, like I we grew up, like with all these like mga feng shui, mga accessories and everything, right?
Mm-mm,
I
mm-mm.
wasn't really interested in those, but I feel like it's more of like really, well, I don't really fully understand the concept. So like for me, it's something that you really have to get into. By some fate, I lived in the States for a couple of years, and I lived in LA. So every time I would get a chance to be by myself,
Mm-hmm.
always go to places where it's parang interesting lang ganun. So
Okay.
happened was, well, I'm always interested in minerals because they're really beautiful.
Yes.
And of course, as a woman, of course, so, like my introduction to diamonds are they're beautiful, they're
Yes.
something special, like that. So I went into a store in LA, and I have friends in LA who are really into crystals. So one of our excursions there was to take me to a crystal shop.
Okay.
Okay, so that was the first experience where I was introduced to energy. Not necessarily like just the minerals. Because minerals, you can see it in museums. I love going to museums where there are like a lot of mineral collections. And so my standard for minerals are really high because I always just see them in museums. So now a friend of mine brought me to a store in LA,
Mm-mm.
and it was really like it's different, no? Parang if
Okay.
you're used to it in a sense na it's energetic, and then you're like, okay, now I see why people are really into like collecting not just beautiful minerals but also collecting this in like different shapes and forms, and like a terminated, a generator, like you say, when you have an amethyst, you have an amethyst, but
Yeah.
this friend now would tell me, no, you need a double terminated amethyst because it can send and receive. Now you're like more curious as how crystals work, and iba-iba pala siya ng
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
influence is basically really weird enough because tayo sobrang rooted natin sa yung mga nakikita nating mga bagwa, mga like all these
Mm-mm.
things that I grew up with, 'di ba? But parang parang when I went to that store, parang okay. Ito yung sayaw ko. Ito yung
Oo.
ito yung style ko.
Pwede mo describe yung feeling? I mean, curious lang ako when you say that na parang pagpasok mo may nararamdaman ka. Tama, di
Yeah,
ba? May nararamdaman kang energy, may nararamdaman kang something.
some people naman are really not fully sensitive to
Mm-mm.
energies, right? I think I was just also in the part of my life then, no, na I was very open to any ideas of change, and
Yes.
like I think there's like a time in your life where you become open to all these ideas of some people, they don't believe in crystals, some people they really love crystals, like have clients like CEOs who would wear moldavites inside their suits, and they didn't know they're doing that. So parang for me, parang it's really not because of the level of intellect a person has, but it's really the awareness of how they have this parang connection.
Affinity, you know? Mm-mm.
Yes, connection to energies. So there, like for me, I'm very I would say I'm very spiritual ever since
Mm-mm.
I was a child. Like, when we would talk about paranormal things, I would have my share of experiences with those. And it's always like you're always told to like, ay, dasal mo yan, or like, ito yan, or like, alam mo, yung mga ganun, na parang,
Yes, yes.
you kind of like put it behind you because, you're gonna sound really weird, or you're gonna sound like you're crazy or something, right? But I
Mm-mm.
think there's a conscious shift in this collective, especially in the recent years. I wouldn't say,
Yes.
yeah, that it has become more open to shifting into like spirituality that you own.
Yes.
Parang sa'yo talaga.
Mm-mm.
Whether it's like tarot cards, or like pendulums, or crystals, or like the smudging or
Yeah.
ganyan. I think there's a shift that this is something I own. This is something that no one can take away from me. The level of practice I have, maybe it be shallow to someone, or like it's really like talagang ang lalim na ng practice mo. It's just yours. It's
Yes.
completely yours. So I think it's an exercise of individuality. So based on your experience, like since you were born to like when you become aware. Like with me, I have madami rin akong experiences when it comes to like mga yung tinatawas, alam mo yun, yung mga
Mm-mm.
ever since bata ko. So it's not like terribly weird in my family to believe in these things, because naniniwala din yung parents ko when it comes to that, like tinatawas, or mga if we feel sick, 'di ba? Unang tinatawagan imbes na doktor, tatawagan mga ganun,
Oo,
'di ba?
oo.
So as you grow up, you kind of like fade into the, I wouldn't say, I would always say the commercial life, like these things are not true. You're like, that was funny, or like this, like this, like this. And then one day you just come back to yourself and you're like, you know what? The energy then was probably what I'm supposed to be aligning to in this time of my life, because yeah, I believe it.
Yes.
I'm living it. It's that is it, right? So
Mm-mm.
ever since I had this consciousness about, my first crystal shop experience, it made me more open to accepting, first accepting myself, that I sort of feel people's energy. So even like if I sell online, like parang updated ako sa mga energy ng tao, kasi they always come
Oo.
they come back to me and they're like, okay, Jen, I got a clear quartz, and my manifestation for that was for clarity, or something like that. Sometimes most of the people, I would say 60%, 70% of the time, they would come to me because they want to manifest abundance, like money,
Mm-hmm.
better job, better career, like that. And then I always just tell them, is it really money that you want, or is it well, I'm rephrasing it, but to get to the point, I would always say, is it really money that you want, or you need something to get to that? Tapos, they will just tell me na parang, so what do you think is your like roadblock to get into those things? And they would say, you know what, I feel like I need to be more assertive. Then let's not get into the abundance crystals. Let's get into the
Mm.
crystals, right? So, and then they tell me, they come back to me, I'm like, you are damn right. I need to communicate. Thank you for this kyanite, or thank you for this, carnelian, all these crystals that are communication crystals. Kasi hindi pala nila kailangan ng pera. Hindi pala nila kailangan ng
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
power. It's already there. Like you accept a job, you want a promotion, but you're in the current present job, you also agreed to that sweldo eh. You agreed to that
Oo.
abundance, you're accepting it. But now you're ready to take it to the next level, and you feel like you deserve it. Now you have to claim it, right? So you
Yes.
want to claim it. So people look into like abundance crystals to claim something that they feel like will add more to what they have. But it's really like, what if you gain more confidence? Then at that point, what can remind you of that? So sometimes I just tell them, like, just get, especially now everyone's work from home, and when you feel like sort of in a slump, or like can't express yourself, then you might as well just get something that's really like to boost your confidence. You don't need more abundance crystals, or. So it's that is the basis. So
What? Sorry,
mhm.
I've accumulated a few questions. When you say boost your confidence, what stones or what crystals would you recommend for
I
that?
would, because nga, my influence is really like more like Western LA. I would say,
Mm-mm.
parang
Yes.
very Utang labo. You wouldn't say that,
Mm-mm.
that sounds very, funny. But, like it's like the chakras. That's what I follow.
Yes, yes.
The color energies and everything. So they say that the carnelian is really carnelian orange energies, red energies is stored in your sacral chakra.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you really get everything. Yung pag nangliligaw ka or like pag may sinasagot ka, you get the power from there eh. When
Mm-hmm.
you're sexually attracted to someone and you want to be sexual with them, that's where you get it also. That's the energy that you use.
Mm-hmm.
But what I've learned from so many like books and podcast and readings is that you also this is like the energy that is taboo, especially to Filipinos. Bawal
Yes.
pag-usapan yan,
Mm-mm.
bawal pag-usapan yung sex, bawal pag-usapan
Yes.
sexuality, gender issues, whatever. You can't talk about it. Even like this paranormal thing, you can't talk about
Yes.
it.
Oo.
But you know what? I think it is really stored there in the sacral chakra. So
Mm-hmm.
every time you empower that area, you basically try to get what you want eh. So
Mm-mm.
parang you if you feel the energy, let's say you have a crystal that is red or orange or anything that can help the sacral chakra, it helps unleash that energy.
Mm,
Let's
okay.
say if you slash away the word sacral and sexual,
Mm-mm.
so that energy stored below your tummy and before your root, which is your first chakra, which is at the bottom, doon nakastore yung parang courage energies.
Ah, really? That low, ano?
Yeah. So
Mm-mm.
doon, ang lalim. But we are always told, ever since we were kids, don't say the word penis, don't say the word
Yes, yes.
vagina. So it's all like, like the people are like diminishing all this power that we have because just because people don't want to hear it.
Mm-mm.
So we tend to like shut down this sacral chakra. We tend to shut down the energy of 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 the yun nga, yung courage natin.
Encourage na yun, oo.
Yeah, so we're the ones who's blocking it now.
Yeah.
So yeah, so there's also this issue with like people like to align energies. It's like I need my throat chakra
Mm-hmm.
align with my sacral energy so that if there's something that I want, I get courage and I'm gonna be able to say it. Right? So
Oo.
parang ganon.
When you mentioned also na, let's say the person said, "Oh, I want abundance. I want something for a better job or better pay," and then you tell them na, "Is that really what you want?" So that's your empathic abilities kicking in. Is that parang
Kasi
you feel something? Oh.
Oo, sometimes kasi I feel like, like I have clients, like I've been here for almost 4 years, and I would see like growth and then a slump and then a growth and then slump. It's like, there's no life naman na parang it's always like uphill eh.
Mm-hmm.
So, what I would always see is that, in different occasions, they would get a job or like, I want to get this job. And then they would give me like a feedback. Like a very few people naman would give me feedback about it.
Yes.
And they would
Mm-mm.
say, now I think it's time to take this to a whole new level, and I need a yun nga parang abundance. So parang they, of course, you all have this like material wants also, so you want more, right? So
Yes.
but putting more energy out, so it's a currency. So I feel like, okay, do you want more money or do you want the promotion that comes with the money?
Mm-mm.
Kasi parang it's two different things eh. Kasi if you want just abundance, then hanap ka ng side job mo or
Oo.
like side hustle or whatever, di ba? Pero parang no eh. Some people really like, okay, I am ready, I'm confident to go up the corporate ladder or like, something like that. Or sometimes there's also weird but it's like a demotion of self na parang I'm in this high position.
Mm-mm.
I feel really confident about where I am and what I already have or what I'm earning, or I have all these things that I want. I want to rest. And to them
Okay.
that is also a some sort of life promotion. Alam mo yun, yung
Yes,
parang
yes. Oo.
have more time for better things or stuff like that. So I think it's really, we can't just say I think it's really what do you say, that delikado na sabihin mo na lang, kailangan mo ng citrine para yumaman ka. Or kailangan mo ng ganyan. Hindi mo yung tanong baka naman tamad siya. Baka naman he's like doing the work, like even, and also, di ba parang Nick, we all have our own wealth metric eh. Okay
Yes.
na ako dito. Okay na ako dito. Sagad na to. Ito na yung energy ko. Alam mo yun, hindi naman pwedeng parang lahat tayo parang Superman or like, or kaya mong gawin lahat, diba? So I think it's really like up to that, si my kid is crying, I'm sorry.
Do you need to go na? Let me know. Sige lang.
No. Ano lang yan, this kid is quite a ball of energy. Yes, so I think it's that it's more of a feeling of where you really want to be at. Is it like, sorry about that.
It's okay.
Yeah, so it's like a courage thing, or is it like I can't speak something, or I'm not really opening and I'm just wanting, like, I just want to be rich tapos I don't want to do anything. So it's like it has to be a synergetic, it's like it has to be a synergy, when you work on these things.
Ako, I'll be honest, medyo total noob ako sa aspect ng smudges and tumbles, yung mga naka-mention sa Instagram nyo. So, ko-connect ko lang sa experiences na na-mention mo. So, do you personally, do you experience paranormal things up to now? Or parang,
you know what,
wala na?
It's more of what I'm experiencing now. As a child, yes, I would, like, I feel like laging meron naman talaga. I used to be a chef. I used to have a restaurant. Before I moved to LA for a couple of years. I used to have a restaurant. Burnt out talaga ako. So yun. Kaya pagdating ko sa LA, kahit ano, but it was a shift pala. So, when I had a restaurant, I would have I had a customer, I forgot his name. It's been like so long, 2008, 2000. I had a restaurant 2003 until 2009. And
tagal rin.
right, oo. So I was working in the kitchens all the time. Of course, as with all chefs, we drink after. So,
Yes.
So I would have a client who would always come in and he does paranormal stuff. And then so like since he's there all the time, I asked him, he said, I come here in this area of Ortigas where the restaurant is. It's because there's a portal here that I really like. So I didn't really understand what I mean by portal, diba? Parang ganun. So sabi niya, there's a portal here that I really like eh. I don't know. And then so I asked him, are you just drunk? Because we're starting getting shots, we're starting giving out drinks, it's like hours, like, oh, sir, ganun. And he said, no, there's a portal here that parang collectively, all the people here are called to this portal. That's why you all are here. So I said, okay, I don't understand. So you mean I'm being called to this portal too? Parang ganyan. Tapos parang siya, yeah, it's like a place where you can travel or go to without you. So parang for me, okay, dude, okay. Parang ganon. And then we were at the bar, I would remember, and I started getting really interested. Not drunk, really just really getting interested in what he's saying because it just makes a lot of sense. Alam ko yan kasi alam mo yun na natawas ka na.
Natawas ka.
Oh, hindi na yan weird for me. Even my best friend who also works for me, he's a spiritual dowser na now. He was working with me. So there's also like the synchronicity na parang the energies really align you with people you are like eh.
Yes.
So yun. And then he said, yun nga, ang daming question, ganyan. Like, then he just dropped it. It's like right now, 2 is sitting with us. You mean now? So parang imbis na yung reaction ko, knee-jerk talaga, matakot ka, parang, nasan? Yun ang tanong. Siyempre, mga kasinera. Parang, nasan? Ganyan. Andito. I kid you not, the bar door opened. Okay. So parang ako, okay. Di nagtigilan kami. Tapos he laughed.
Mm.
And he's like, see, I told you, they can, and he laughed.
Mm.
He's like, called them into like this, you know, like this girl is basically, which is me, in denial that she can feel things.
Yes.
So I'm like, okay. And then from then on, so he would still come, and then he one day he just said like, my work is done. He even told me that at that point in my life, we're like, you know what? I'm sorry, but like, because so we became like parang after
Office friends.
hours, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. So he also he also reads in the area. So I would see him, he has clients. This is in Metro Walk in Pasig before. And then I would see him, he would sit with clients. So he would always meet in that area because he feels great nga daw because
Mm.
of the portal. So parang gano'n. And then he said na I wouldn't end up with who I was with. And of course, I questioned that, which is true. Uh,
Yes.
which is very true. It was really it was something that I look back and say, okay, that might not be paranormal, but I think you should start thinking of these things as normal.
Mm.
This is it. This is what's really people are trying to hide.
Yes.
That's like 10 years ago. But now, um, so parang ano rin, parang madaming Pinoy kasi talaga na hindi naniniwala, which is weird enough because we're basically religious people.
Yes, oo.
Parang yun nga, like I had an interview once with a blog naman. And I said like, with the smudging and the cleansing and everything, this is very normal to us. It's like orasyon. Alam mo orasyon, di ba?
Mm. Mm. Yes.
Mga lola natin, mga lola,
Mm.
magsisiga. Bakit? Para sa lamok? Hindi. Kasi para sa mga dapat nang sumama sa usok, 'di ba? Gano'n. So, imposible na parang we're not born into those feeling, ang bilis natin maka-feel ng mga ganyan. So, yung kapitbahay mong nagsisiga, secretly nag-oorasyon 'yan. Secretly yung proseso na ginagawa niya na pagsisiga araw-araw, hindi lang 'yan dahil para mamunga yung mangga.
Yes, oo.
'Di ba?
Oo, oo.
Tinatago
Posible.
pa 'di ba? Parang mga ano. Pero yun talaga yun, eh. It's really like when you ask them, it's because so that may sasama lahat sa usok. Sumama na dapat ng sumama sa usok. Kasi gano'n. So, I learned about smudging. I wouldn't say, it's very controversial. But um, I've had a talk once with a Native American kasi I live in the States.
Mm, yes, oo.
For some of them, they see this as parang cultural appropriation. But some of them, they really like to share.
Yes.
Really like to share this ritual because lahat because I also told him that you know what, we also have something like this in the Philippines. It's called orasyon, where our lolas do this and do that. Sabi niya, it's the same. We all have our rituals, and I feel like in this time and in this age, like everyone, I think, should be sharing, like
Yes, oo.
especially now, parang ang kalaban natin sobrang high-tech na mundo.
Oo.
There's oo, sobrang
Oo.
there's nothing wrong to be rooted again. And I think it's what we need most, especially in this pandemic, na you have to be you have to have some sort of ritual that's yours, that you can call yours. And kasi you feel like all your freedom's taken away and all of this stuff. So I think, yeah. So I think it's easy. I think it's easy for Filipinos to adapt into smudging and cleansing because innately it's within us. Our ancestors has passed on a lot of these what do you call this? Rituals.
Rituals, oo. Actually meron kami nakausap before na yun talagang nagpupunta siya sa different, hindi siya nakasama na ngayon, pero he goes to different culture bearers in different countries, and there are a lot of similarities with regards to rituals. Talaga na they are, yun nga, nakakalimutan dahil naiisip ng tao is kalokohan or
Uh,
demonic yung di ba? Ganun palagi yung
yeah.
reaction. Pero, yeah. Sa smudges ba? Sorry, wala rin talaga akong alam sa smudges. Pero, yung kilala kong isa nga, nasabi niya nagsasmudge siya. Nagsa-smudge siya. So, parang pausok yun, di ba? Parang, tama ba? Yung sage yan and all that?
Or Palo Santo or
Palo Santo, yes. So,
incense, like tayo, ako, I have a lot of, bata pa ako, parang I always see mga incense. Even like, like in church, di ba? Parang there are times na parang pag nagsimba ka, may usok.
Mm. Oo nga, tama. Oo
Diba?
nga,
Or
oo.
pag may na-deads tapos may send-off na usok, di ba? Pagka minimisahan sa simbahan.
Yes.
May send-off na usok eh. So, it's very, parang symbolism kasi yan na like, on a daily basis na nagsismudge yung mga tao now. I always tell them, don't make it too confusing, or there's really no hard rules. It's more of like, upo ka tapos sabihin mo ano yung mga kailangan mong pakawalan. You really have to let go. Even if
Mm.
it's just most simple of things. I can't, like hindi ako makabook ng Grab umuulan. Mga ganyan. Yung mga talagang
Oo.
mga babaw lang talaga. Ano na yan eh, kasi it builds up inside, di ba? So when you believe that in crystals and smudging, like in this community, parang especially recently the energy has become a currency that you earn and you lose. So
Mhm.
parang, okay, is this gonna add up to my bank, or is this gonna make me spend? Like when you listen to someone who's like an energy vampire, ano ba 'to? Yayaman ba yung bangko ko dito, or 'di ba ganyan. So you wanna lend an ear somehow because, andito na nga tayo sa age na parang we're more understanding.
Mm.
But, siyempre ba't merong mga energies na hindi mo din talagang gustong pakinggan.
Okay.
Alam mo 'yun, meron talaga parang ano, paulit-ulit na 'to, hindi na 'to okay. They're not working on it, they're not like this. You're more pragmatic also,
Mm.
especially if you think of your energy as a currency na parang, okay, tatapon ko ba 'tong pera na 'to o itong energy na 'to sa ganitong bagay. People are more conscious now on where they spend their energies. So, I think pagka nag-clear ka ng energy mo, sometimes ako yun ang sinasabi ko sa mga clients. It's very easy. Just say, with the smoke, I banish all negative energy, or like may the smoke send you off whatever, like spirit or ganyan. So sometimes if I feel like, I especially now, it's very sad because I always hear like, oh, the ganyan of this one died from
Yes,
COVID.
yes.
Yeah. Like when I it's like lighting a candle, like it's like it has become like a vessel for me na parang, okay, you guys ride in the smoke and may it lead you to where you should be, like ganon. Alam mo yun, parang nile-let go mo na. Yun yung parang parang may symbolism din na mag
Move on sila.
ganon.
Matanong ko lang, how often do you do it?
Me,
Personally, yeah. Oo.
twice a month.
Okay.
A month. And it's not scheduled. It's really like ganun na yon. Hindi naman ako not because I sell, no. Like even people that I sell to, they say, "Do you have to do this every day?" No. With crystals, how often should clear your crystals? It's very very ano naman ako eh. Some people would say, "Ay, lagi kasi ganito," or every full. If you have like a lot of crystals, you treat it as like a parang first aid kit. Parang okay, pero medyo mag-plan ka. Kunyari, okay, for the next season of my life, for the next 2 months, let's say, I would bring out this, and this crystal because I need protection, I need clarity, I need focus, I need ganyan. So be intentional. And then, yun lang yung ismudge mo. Yun lang, yung apat
Mm.
na lang yun. Hindi mo kailangan isa-isahin yung... Paano na yung mga taong mga 200 na yung crystals? Parang, nakakapagod na. So,
Oo.
imbes yung ritualistic siya, parang, oh my God, alam mo, parang na siyang burden na...
Oo.
So, let's not get to that point. So, what I always say to my clients, like, okay, what is in your rotation right now? So whatever is in your rotation should get your full attention. So once it's done, you look at them and you feel, okay, this one is done, or this one feels like it's depleted. But it's not always like when you bring out the crystal, parang it will do the work for you, right? So
Mm.
you have to do your work. So ikaw rin napapagod ka as a being. If you're aligned with your crystal, pareho kayong pagod, edi smudge ka sa'yo and then smudge mo rin siya. So
Mm.
it doesn't have to follow that I have to smudge every crystal that's here. But like what it's not wrong also to like, pasadahan mo na lang din sila dahil, But what
Nagpauso ka na.
Oo,
Mm.
nagpo So, what I do is that you focus your energy on what you're using, the crystals that you're using right now, and your energy, which is your currency. So, parang kung ano yung alignment mo with your crystals that you're using now, yun lang linisin mo, or after na tingin mo, okay, good job, nakuha na natin yung manifestation natin. Balik ka na sa cabinet na yung mga crystals na hindi ko ginagamit. But I'll clear you first. Clear the crystal first. Baliw ako. I talk to my crystals like they're
Yes,
very.
oo. Mm-mm.
So, parang I tell them, okay, nice. Parang ganun. Okay, nakuha na natin yung gusto natin. Parang pagod ka na. Parang ganun. Parang pagod ka. Parang,
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Mars, pahinga ka muna. So, but
Mm-mm.
thank you. First, I thank the crystal. I smudge it clear. And like, okay, when I need you, just be there. Then I just keep it. And then sometimes, like another season would come and I feel like, oh, this is like the part of, iba-iba kasi sorry about
Yes.
that.
It's okay.
Externally, iba-iba yung nangyayari sa atin. So parang what's gonna happen is that, okay, you're gonna need a different crystal. Or like, crystals have different finishes and shapes depending on the manifestation.
Oo.
So, yun, minsan, like ako, dami kong black tourmaline. Or like, yung mga ganon. Parang,
Mm-mm.
bawat sulok yata ng bahay ko, parang, okay, black tourmaline. Kasi parang, you need to protect yourself all the time. Especially now. Ano.
Nakakatuwa kasi yun nga. Right now, tinitignan ko sa harap ko, black tourmaline. Yun ang next question ko, ang galing lang. Kasi parang the few people we've talked to who've talked about crystal, si Miss Stargazer Philippines.
Ano yun? Idol yun. Black tourmalines are very grounding. So first, before ka mag-protect, di ba parang hindi ka pwedeng lutang eh. Hindi ka pwedeng nakalipad. Balik ka muna kung saan. At yun ang ginagawa talaga ni Black Tourmaline. Balik ka dito, tapos tsaka natin labanan. Let's protect your energy. Kasi nga, if you really see energy as a currency, parang coin bank, alikan
Yes.
siya. Diba? Saan mo ba? Or ganon. So, parang sayang yung energy pagka inano mo. So, you protect your energy because you're also the one who's like building it eh.
Yes.
So, parang sayang naman, parang gano'n. Parang ang tagal ko nag-meditate, mga 2 months, to have this peace and quiet and like this. And then biglang, sige, hayaan ko na lang this person to just, like take away a lot from that.
Yes.
So, and especially now, we as for us who somehow feel people's energy, kailangan talaga to protect. So, para hindi maapektuhan yung ibang aspect ng buhay mo, work or like this. I mean, it's already there. Like it's a given na we all have work, we work from home, we have to deal with children and like yun. And so parang even my kids, like for them crystals are toys right now, but like I secretly program it to for them to have better mood or like
Okay. Oo. Okay.
ganon. So black tourmaline is very important, especially at home, because you don't want, kahit even if you work outside, ayaw mo pa rin iuwi. Bit ka na entity galing sa labas, hindi rin siya welcome. So parang this is it. This is the crystal that can protect you. Actually, any dark crystals.
May question si Gray. Sabi niya, is there any difference in the effectivity of the crystals if it's raw or tumbled, polished?
You know what? Honestly, ito yung weird answer ko sa pagdating dyan. Honestly, wala. It's really I think how the person uses it and how many I need. Because sometimes I feel like mayroon akong clients na black tourmaline lang na tumbled sa pocket niya all the time, and then that's it. And then he just puts it bedside. Doesn't really matter, right? But some people, they have a lot of manifestations. So and also like, let's say, if you're building a house, speaking of black tourmaline, I have a lot of clients who would get four black tourmalines to plant in the foundations of their homes.
Really?
In the four corners of their homes. Yung
parang before buhos, parang before they build on it.
Points, diba? Ganun. tas manok, 'di ba? Dugo ng manok, mga ganyan.
Mm.
Ngayon, may ano sila na they embed like 4 black tourmalines in the 4 corners of the lot.
Okay.
Parang yan. So parang malaki o maliit. So sometimes some of my clients, kailangan ko ba ng malaki or maliit? Anong energy mo? Anong feel mo? Parang kailangan ko ng malaki. Gets mo? Parang feeling
Mm.
ko doon ako mas aligned sa malaking crystal. So I
Mm.
think it's the same when it comes to like not just that for that purpose na binabaon mo sa lupa, but I think even if like in the question of it's tumbled or polished, sometimes people like to wear crystals, so they wear bracelets, what do you call this? Pendants, di ba?
Mm. So
Because
tumbled pag ganun.
parang they're more aligned to that. Tumbled stones are basically parang
Polished, yes.
polished pieces. So, yun, meron naman na I have a client who also brings her clear quartz in the office. So, ayaw niya ng maliit, pero ayaw niya ng sobrang laki. Pero meron na siyang malaki, so meron na siyang maliit. So, this is for work. So iba talaga. Iba talaga yung ano. So when it comes to raw naman, there's another a little layer of raw versus processed crystals. For me, raw talaga sobrang lakas kasi hindi siya pa masyado altered. Alam mo
Mm.
'yun? Pero
Yes.
I really try as much as possible in clear space. Kasi nga, bisyo ko nga talaga dati pumunta ng mga gem show and
Oo.
everything. Bisyo ko talaga yan. Because I'm really amazed by them. I love them. I love crystals. And I would see raw pieces and polished pieces. And I feel the same. Mas gravitated ako minsan sa mas polished or like that. But
Mm.
what I feel if it's raw versus polished, that where do you get it from? Where is it that you get it from? So since nga I've met a lot of gem show people, these are not middlemen, ha. These are like mine own,
Diretso, oo.
or like if they're middle people, it's because they operate mines, or like they kasi in crystal commercial processing, you basically buy uh, parang a vein of the
Hmm, okey.
parang sa lupa, 'di ba?
Oo, oo, oo.
Yung rights, parang meron kang rights to the vein of the mineral na habang nasa lupa pa. So these are the people I deal with. So pag yung energy niya parang jive talaga. Meron talagang yung parang parang for me parang mga ano yun, medyo
Yeah,
suplada,
oo, oo, oo.
aligned in that level pa lang.
Mm.
Makukuha, 'di ba? So, yun. So, these people dati, pre-pandemic, yan ang lagi kong bisyo na pinupuntahan. Like, I would go to like gem shows in the States and like that. So, I would meet people na parang genuinely, masaya din sila binibenta yung mga crystals nila. So, in the question of raw or polished, parang for me, it matters most kung saan or align ka ba dun sa kinukuhanan mo. Nako mo?
Mm. So parang vina-vibe mo, meaning parang
Ganon.
pinapakiramdaman mo kung
Yes.
ano yung mas align sa'yo?
Kunin ko rin yan sa mga books ng mga Jude Hall, yung mga crystal gurus talaga.
Mm.
Na parang the more you get closer to the source, parang the less energy na dinaanan nung
Mm,
crystal.
mm.
So sometimes like I wouldn't say that all of our crystals doesn't feel static kasi iba talaga yung yung receiver, 'di ba? Kung ikaw talaga. So it doesn't matter kung you feel about it, where you get your crystals. Honestly, I don't I've ID'd a lot of crystals from other vendors, and I really don't take any offense because for me parang may rason din naman ba't sa akin ka lumapit, or
Yes, oo. Mm.
but most of I think the most important thing is that if it's raw or polished, you feel it. Like, do you feel kikilalanin mo pa ba yung crystals or hindi na? Or like,
Mm.
or instant attraction ba? Ganon. Sometimes kasi 'di ba sabi nila, you just have to like let the crystal pick you.
Yes, oo.
But but for me kasi, dahil nga I know mga operators, miners, vein excavators, parang I see them kasi parang they're also intentional. They ask me, okay, how much do you need? Oh, I need like 10 kilograms of this. There's a need for this. It's gonna be this season in the Philippines, and there's an intention there of acquiring the crystals. It's
Mm.
it's like, oh sige, okay, maganda yan, akin na, parang ganon. So
Mm.
mostly that's why I'm like I plan everything parang April pa lang, Christmas collection na, mga ganon. So, I
Mm,
tell
mm.
them what I need. So, but when it comes to the question of raw or tumbled or polished, it's really yung end user yung makaka-feel. So, parang for us, like, I'm the one who's selling it. I wouldn't say I can't feel for you, but if you're a new client and then that's why minsan medyo mayroon pa akong mga tanong na weird.
Mm. Oo.
I would rather that, they take home a crystal that's really for them. So, then, you see it in my feed and then, ay, okay, parang kailangan ko nito, ganyan. Hindi naman ako nag-question bakit mo kailangan, but it's more of like, parang, Jen, do you think I should get a polished or a raw piece for like this, ganyan? Are you gonna, sometimes practical talaga yung sagot Saan mo, gagamitin mo ba siya? Hawakan mo ba madalas? Ah, gusto mo bang parang may crystal altar ka ba? Kasi mga raw collectors talagang they really have like a crystal, showcase. Ganon.
Collection talaga. Oo.
Collection talaga. But if you, let's say, gusto mo talagang to sit with it, meditate with it, and then, work with it, I would say tumbled or a palm stone is a great idea. So,
Because gusto mong hawakan, tama ba?
oo, mas gusto mo
Mm.
hawakan. Mahirap naman hawakan like,
Magaspang. Mm.
magas or matulis, 'di ba?
Mm, mm.
So, like sa kotse, like yung mga anak ko wala naman, hindi naman sila madalas, hindi ko kasama sa car. So, or in my car seat naman sila. So, I have a double terminated citrine in my car and a clear quartz. So, matalas siya. So, malayo naman sa kanila. So, practical lang. Alam mo yun? Ganun. So,
May magandang question din si Gray. Actually, perfect for you because of your shop and for the people who might be buying from you. Sabi niya, with the advent of online shopping, what do you do with the crystal upon receiving it? Do
alam
you
mo,
have to cleanse it or ayun,
alam
sige.
mo, I have to be honest, you don't always have to cleanse it. Ako talaga, yung feeling pa lang, pagbukas ko talaga ng crystals, kinikilig na ako. So, yung mga crystals, alam na nila na parang, tinan mo, kinikilig siya. Alam mo yun?
Okay. Oo, oo.
Hindi ko na kailangang mag-pretend na parang,
Mm.
hey guys, yeah.
Oo.
So, parang kinikilig na ako. So, ganon. But definitely, I do clear my space all the time. So, before I welcome crystals, ano na yan, it's a given na parang I cleanse my space kasi parang minsan iba-iba rin, di ba lang kung saan nanggaling din.
Yes,
Alam mo
oo. Mm.
yun? So I clear them but I only use a smudge. Like pausok lang talaga. So uh, I would pick a leaf or two and put it in a smudge bowl and then I would light it up before I open it. Kasi ever since nag-pandemic, praning na akong praning pero kina-quarantine ko yung box ko at least mga 4
Oo.
days.
Mm.
4 to 7 days, depende. And also like with how much crystals that I'm getting, I don't get to post everything. So what happens is that I already have a list. What do you call this? A wish list, ganyan. So I honor those first. And then sometimes hindi sa abot sa feed.
Yes, oo.
So but I definitely when we unbox them, hindi lang sila yung kiniklear ko, pati ako.
Mm.
Kasi imagine you do this in your home.
Yes, oo.
No, imagine like receiving like just this Christmas season, we're gonna receive 2.5 tons of crystals based on my Excel spreadsheet.
Okay.
So imagine like the energy that comes in and out of our house.
Yes.
So for me, it's really important. You have to have a happy space when you're working with them. I can't be like tired, Marami ako, alam yan ng mga kliyente ko na sobrang ang dami kong bubu, parang, mali na yung na-send ko or
Mm,
ganyan.
mm, mm.
Hindi lang dahil sa retrograde or hindi lang dahil sa ganyan, but it's really like, the energy also. Hindi siya mabigat ha. High strung, gets mo?
High
Parang,
strung. Mm.
but I've already known how to protect myself with it na parang okay, even if I touch them, wala na, parang hindi na ako dapat na apektuhan. But yes, upon receiving the crystals, I clear the space first before I clear the crystals. And then I just put a leaf or two of white sage in a bowl. And then collectively, I mention that I'm thankful that they got here safely and thank you for choosing me as the parang middle person to get to your forever home. Yeah. That's it. It's basically ganun lang. Nilalambing ko lang sila ng
Oo.
ganun.
Pero matanong ko, since na-mention mo yun, have you experienced na merong negative na crystal na parang pagkita mo pa lang? I mean, doesn't have to be something you're selling, but before, na parang pagkita mo pa lang, buh, iba to ah.
Okay, marami.
Okay.
Marami talaga. Especially pag hindi ko alam yung source. Parang pag hindi ko alam na parang it's not how you trace it. It's not I think the energy that how it got to you. Sometimes parang I would have, like iba yung feeling pag kunyari, I have the supplier and then the supplier is really in close, like middle person, but they're really in close contact with natives or like, they tell
Mm-mm.
me, they send me pictures na parang, look, it's the women that are polishing this in their communities.
Mm-mm.
Iba yung vibe pag
Mm-mm.
dumating. Parang, ang sarap niyang, hindi ibenta, isarap niyang hanapan ng match ng energy
Oo,
mo.
oo.
Pero yung sasabihin mo na parang it's more of like it's different, like it's really when you see a crystal that doesn't have I wala parang static, hindi ko ma-feel yung energy ganon. Alam mo, honestly, it goes straight to the sale bin. We have here, we call a sale bin. It's where the damaged pieces go. It's
Mm-mm.
where this, like, and I don't hold sale all the time
Mm-mm.
because it takes a lot of energy, and I feel like you really don't have to put the crystals on sale because I feel like they're energies, so but we call the sale bin. So pag na damage, commercially, of course, let's just be realistic, some people don't like crystals that are broken.
Yes.
Some people really love broken crystals because it reminds them of how beautiful, even if you're broken, stuff like that. It's very
Mm.
ganon
May meaning for them pala.
for them. So, sometimes ako mismo, wala talagang wala akong nafi-feel dun sa crystal. Ang tagal bago ko siya mabenta. Alam mo 'yun, yung parang
Oo, oo.
bago ko siya ma-post.
Mm-mm.
Gano'n, tagal, as in. And tagal talaga. So, parang ako mismo, hindi ako 'pag hindi ang tagal, parang I need to sit with it first. Are you ready to meet
To be
your
passed on, oo. To find your partner.
like, ano, sama ba yung loob mo na, like, even my husband I would say, is this crystal, like, I would ask him, siguro baliw na siya sa akin, but I would say na parang, alam mo, itong isang to, hindi ko alam paano ko siya ibebenta, or hindi ko alam paano ko siya, wala talaga akong story for this person, this
Mm-mm.
crystal.
Mm-mm.
Alam mo yun, parang wala. Wala lang talaga akong maramdaman, ganun. So, mahirap din for me as a seller na ganun. So, I really try to avoid suppliers na alam kong bibigyan ako ng ganun.
Ganun, oo. So, parang pag inisip mo, parang doble trabaho ka rin pala na pagkakuha mo, oo.
And I believe that energy is currency. So, you mean I need double the. Of course, it's not my energy needs to be matched with this crystal. Parang sometimes, pag ganyan, and like, sige, subukan natin post, boom, taken right away. Kasi,
Mm.
meron talaga siyang kamatch eh.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Meron talaga siyang merong may kailangan. Or like, even if you say that I sell the same crystals, or I love quartz, like anything Brazilian material, quartz, smoky quartz, anything in the quartz family, I really love. So I make it the point to be in my almost like permanent collection. Yun for me, parang ang gaang-gaang. Parang for me, parang people really, not just they need it all the time, but it's really something that I feel confident in, like, selling. Not a
Mm-mm.
favorite, but it's more of like, people really need this.
Pero anong everyday carry mo, if I may ask? Parang anywhere you go, parang nandyan yan. Sa bag mo or nasa pocket mo or whatever.
Ako,
Oo.
isang protection stone, tsaka isang ascension, parang ascension stone. Kasi parang if you protect your energy, which is good, you're grounded, you're back to knowing you're rooted. But sometimes kailangan mo ng high vibe, yung mga ascension crystals. So I
Mhm.
used to use petalite. It is my very heady crystal. It's a small, very powerful crystal na it makes me rise above. Alam mo yun?
Okay.
If try to protect yourself, pero best in patol din, alam mo yun? Ang weird naman, di ba? So parang
Oo.
it's rise above. Give that energy to the crystal and then clear the crystal and then charge the crystal and then you go about your day again. Parang gano'n.
Na-mention ng iba na parang kailangan china-charge mo rin aside from cleansing your crystals. This will segue to my question. Again, a bit personal but you can choose not to answer it. What is your belief system? Kasi feeling ko connected siya when you charge it with your crystals.
For me, the personal answer for charging your crystal is really aligning your energy to your crystal. So if you have a
Mm.
manifestation you would say you'd like, um, I think you should match it. Like, kunyari, parang, okay, I want to get this crystal. Because sometimes people get two crystals at the same, like two of the same crystals at the same time.
Mhm.
So one is for, parang, to remind them, um, I need to have clarity, and another clear quartz to remind them to, like, be abundant, to have that mindset. Sample lang, parang ganyan.
Yes.
So, I think, it comes to a point where wala, parang hindi siya it has to be like set na yung energy mo match doon sa minamanifest mo.
Mm.
So when you charge a crystal, you try to feel like, okay, we start with 100%, you and I are 100%. So I do the work 50% of the time. Let's say I ask this crystal to help me and remind me to do yun nga, parang as a manifestation.
Yes.
Sometimes I feel like you're depleted or the crystal is depleted, right? So I think yun yung sinasabi ko na parang dun ka mag-charge, dun ka dun mo ubusin yung energy mo kaysa sa lahat ng crystals mo, sina-charge mo. So you can bring out your crystals in the full moon because dun daw mas malakas talaga mag-charge yung mga crystals.
Mm.
Also, they don't get mineral wise as a mineral collector. If you're gonna expose your crystals, it's better not to do it in anything bright. Kasi nasa lupa yan dati, kaya maganda. Alam mo yun? So, anything you expose them to sunlight or they're crystals that are really parang sensitive to the environment. So, they're still minerals. So, I would say you align yourself when it comes to charging because it's important na pareho kayo ng intention.
Mm. Mm.
So, parang be intentional, really intentional. That's why when I have clients who buy two of the same crystals, they're still intentional even if they're buying two.
The
Kaya
same, oo.
kasi iba yung alignment nila sa isa, iba yung alignment sa as with buying a lot of crystals, ganun din. But you really have to align yourself with your crystals. And that's the time when you feel like any of your crystals and your manifestation, you're the receiving and you're on the receiving end, you can't receive their full potential if you're the one who's depleted, right?
Yes, oo.
Anong energy mo na tanggapin yung abundance or tanggapin yung manifestation kung ikaw mismo hindi ka magcha-charge ng sarili mo. So I think it's a good ritual to start with, let's say, a full moon charging.
Mm.
You sit with your crystals, you sit with the crystals in rotation and you talk to them and you tell them like, you know what, you're here with me, this is synchronicity, and we I need you, you need me. So let's do this. That's how I feel like you should charge your crystals.
Yes.
Not just like a mere ritual na, okay, let's just sit here in the moonlight and then I'll smudge you and then like this. What I always tell my clients when it comes to being intentional is also not to be parang sobrang wag naman nakakapagod. So some people I would just say na parang to keep a crystal journal if you're really new in this crystal journey,
Mhm.
to keep a crystal journal, and then or like notes in your phone, even in your phone, and then you have like date, like just put a date, let's say today,
Mm.
and you want to challenge yourself and your crystal because it's really you who's gonna do most of the work. Challenge yourself like in a, let's say, a 2 week or a 4, depende sa length ng gusto mong result. So kunyari ako parang let me see if I can drink. It's just very simple things. I
Mm.
want I want this crystal to be to remind me of drinking more water. Sample lang, ganyan lang.
Okay.
Sample. So I put one crystal on the table where I work all the time. And then I do it like in my phone, and then I write that this crystal literally is to remind me to drink more water, right?
Oo.
So after 2 weeks, I go back. I put an alarm and I go back. Was I like ano ba, successful ba ako when
Mm.
I do my work, 'di ba? So yeah, I did. Like I feel hydrated, and I did note that I drank a lot of water. Ganyan lang kasimple. This is just like an analogy of what you can manifest with crystals. Let's say I will give myself 1 year to save up for something, or like, or not just that, like even if you go intrinsic and say to forgive someone, or like to start loving again, opening up yourself, opening up my spirituality more, or being true to myself, with just not being myself, by but also for people to see that this is my new nature.
Yes.
And how you and there's also like crystals too. You can note on your journal, okay, this is the crystal that I grieve for a lost loved one, or I grieve for the lost, yung ako mismo, parang
Mm.
okay, ako mismo, I need to grieve some part of myself, and I'm gonna give it time. But let's see, I note, I make a note, and then I also put like an alarm, and then sometimes 6 months I would,
Just to check, oo.
just to check, keep yourself lang na, and then I put an alarm, and it's weird, like after 6 months, did you forgive yourself for doing
Okay.
this?
Oo.
Right?
Mm.
So I think that is the walk with crystals. I think they're there to remind you of the things that you can do for yourself. It's something, it's weird because, like it sounds like it's very commercial now, it's very like this, but if you put intention to everything, then it's very may symbolism naman siya. It's like parang mga Katoliko pag bumibili ng santo, di ba?
Oo, yun nga eh. Oo, yun ang naisip ko
Ganun
eh.
lang din siya.
Oo.
Crystals naman is like to remind you of ganyan. Ngayon, if you're starting your collection and you just admire crystals, that's fine. You don't believe in energy. There are a lot of people now, like they buy crystals because it makes them happy and they see it all the time and they're
Yes.
colorful and nice.
Mm.
Right? I have a lot of clients who would believe in the energy but not somehow, but they want like big pieces in their living room, So what I tell them is just to program it for the entire house. So of course, hindi mo naman, not everyone in your house believe naman na
Yes, oo.
work, right? But if you have really good, and I mean you have good intentions for everyone in the house, why not manifest it for everyone,
For
right?
everyone, yes, oo.
Parang, you put an amethyst, a big amethyst in the middle of the home, and say to this amethyst to protect your children, protect your house, protect your ganyan, and make everyone happy. And amethyst is also a good crystal to parang avoid addictions.
Okay.
Excessive behaviors, parang ganyan.
Ito last question na selfish question siya pero na-mention mo kasi na
Don't have any to do. So,
na-mention mo yung program your crystals para sa kids mo kasi yun nga marami naman I'm sure marami nang nakikinig rin na mga may anak na kagaya no pag medyo may tantrum mo nakakainis parang can you tell us about I mean kung ayaw mo share okay lang pero
no, it's
baka may
okay.
recommendation ka for that.
With my kids kasi, ano sila, my training with them, since they're all, they always go to my office and they see a lot of crystals. To
Mhm.
them, they're very receiving.
Mhm.
Like, when it comes to energy, they get excited. But they think they're toys. Alam mo
Okay.
yun, parang gano'n. Parang tayo rin naman, mas matanda, para siyang toys, 'di ba?
Mm.
Pero it makes them happy, ganyan. When it comes to energies, I've had a lot of clients who have like kids with special needs, or kids with collecting. Their kids are starting to collect crystals, and they want to parang support that, because the idea behind this new crystals well-being is
Mhm.
not really bad for the future.
Yes. Mm.
Diba? Imagine like imagine like if we don't stop our kids believing in these things. diba? They won't be tainted. They would
Yes. Mm-mm.
spiritual. What would happen like 10 years from now if you imagine like all the kids just love crystals? Like, what's gonna happen to them? They're gonna be meditative. They're gonna be, you know,
Mm-mm.
like,
Yes. More
so
spiritual talaga.
more spiritual, and this spiritual that they own, not imposed.
Yes.
Parang they, I think for me, most of my kids are my kids are surrounded by this, and my husband also meditates. So it's something that it might be new as an idea and could be weird for most people, but it has helped a lot. Um, it has helped a lot, especially with kids that I have moms and dads na binibilan talaga yung kids nila ng crystals because not to really buy something that's material, but it's more of like to support
Mm-mm.
found spirituality at a very young age. Because this was, I mean, if we would like to admit it or not, these are the things that we didn't have when we.
Yes. Yes.
It's not something that we don't imagine. Like my 5-year-old attended um a racing frequencies class
Mm.
last summer.
Mm-mm.
And it was very easy, like a very easy subject. It's just like 4 Saturdays that taught them how to set boundaries, that taught them how to express themselves when they're happy or sad. So imagine if we were taught these things at a very young age. I think it's not that we're more empathic or more understanding or ganyan, but it's really like you know how to protect yourself from energies that you don't
Energy. Mm-mm.
exactly, 'di ba? So parang ganun, parang even like even children I think benefit from it. And also if moms and dads would encourage it,
Mm-mm.
it opens a whole like a whole new level of communication and dynamics in the family. So parang, and I wouldn't say just for crystals, any kind of spirituality, may it be like your child is learning how to love the Bible, encourage it.
Yes.
Like if they believe in ghosts, honestly, Nick, encourage
Mm.
it, right?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Because you don't know what it can lead them. Eh. Parang if they're not scared of ganyan, stop shutting the third eye. Stop,
Mm-mm.
stop.
Mm-mm.
What if, imagine like if we have children who are not taught how to, stop what they want to believe in.
Yes.
So imagine like a future, like maybe like 10, 20 years from now, if we help our children be themselves when it comes to this kind of spirituality and we encourage it. So I think it's really, even now, even adults are starting to shift into a more spiritual sense of being because we all know that we need it. So I think that's where the, even if I say I have a store,
Yeah.
uh, I don't just want to say that it's not financially not helping me or whatever,
Mm-mm.
but or just to help people. But to be honest, like it makes me feel good to be in this direction because andun din ako eh. Parang I'm also in that um
Growth. I mean, in that path.
more on
Oh.
healing, more on healing. So
Mm-mm.
like there's so many things to heal. That's how I like my crystals journey started in LA, but I really got deep into it when I had to resurface a lot of inner child healing and intergenerational karma healing. So that's a really really interesting times. Interesting
Mm-mm.
time. Yeah.
Yes. Ang ganda nung lahat ng statement na yun. Parang very, very cathartic rin for other people na, yun nga, a lot of people are opening up right now and there are people reaching out and yun nga, mukhang
Like I'm sure you have a lot of listeners who also believe in the paranormal but were shut down. Like
a lot, very, oo, a lot.
lahat. Karamihan, 'di ba? I have a client who solely believes in aliens, and I'm like, who am I to shut that down? Like, yes, if you're open to believing into like, but if anything that you believe and it makes you a better person, I think no one has the right to shut that down, right? I think that is the purpose of protecting your energy because that is you, eh. Parang if you let them just, you know have comments about what you believe in or like ganyan, then what's gonna happen is that we're gonna have another generation of people, being not true to themselves.
Yes.
So parang, ganun.
If I may ask, yung person na yon who believes in aliens, is he or she able to converse or talk with them?
Yeah, she would always say na parang kunin niyo na ako. She firmly believes in them. Like, even if, ang daming, even if you say these are just conspiracy theories or whatever, but it has been proven so many
Yes.
times.
Mm-mm, mm-mm,
NASA has mentioned it. So it's you can't just say it's weird or it's ganyan, 'di ba? Parang it's
mm-mm,
bad even that. It's another layer of like gaslighting generation where
mm-mm.
they're trying to find their truths.
Hindi ko siya kina-question. Naniniwala ko. Naniniwala ko 90%, so it's okay. Hindi kasi segue ko lang sa the reason I learned about your store is because yun nga, we had a guest who actually it came out at last week. She also deals with crystals pero more on connecting people siya. Pero she mentioned talking with aliens. She mentioned communication with them. And after that, one of my friends, we were talking, and then she said na, oh, maganda daw yung Lemurian quartz kasi may data daw yung lines supposedly. And then when we searched for Lemurian quartz, we saw it on your page nga sa Clear Space.
Yes,
So,
kasi yung Lemurian kasi, parang Atlantean energy eh.
mm,
Parang like
mm,
the lost city. So,
mm,
parang, sige, nandito na rin tayo sa kawirduhan na to.
mm.
Parang, 'di ba? Parang it's really like every time I receive a batch of Lemurians, wala talagang sablay na alam kong hindi siya, parang laging alam kong eto may makakatulong talaga 'to eh. Alam mo 'yun, yung
Mm, mm, mm,
meron talaga 'tong meron talaga 'tong basta meron siyang talagang energy na parang ang dami mong kasi past and present and future crystal siya.
mm.
So,
Okay. Mm,
so when you work with it, even if you say na okay, it's just quartz, it's just clear quartz, that's it. That's expensive. But it's really like what people they've been drawn to Lemurians because it parang it stored a lot of energies of the most beautiful and perfect city that doesn't exist.
yes.
And who doesn't want to live in that world, right?
Mm,
But that city is also parang all-knowing. Parang alam niya na
mm.
when you meet the Lemurian crystal, parang it helps you unlock some sort of um
Knowledge siya daw eh. Oo.
knowledge na parang okay, you don't have answers to questions from your past. Why did it happen? Like with me, my crystal, talagang ang pinaka ko dito sa when I started doing crystals was because I had a class. It's based abroad.
Mm,
Had a class online that was solely for healing intergenerational karma.
mm.
So I had to write lahat ng mga naalala kong kamag-anak, hanggang sa maaalala, and then tingin mo mga kasalanan nila
Okay.
or kasalanan nila sa ibang tao. So, di ba narinig mo ng bata ka, yung tito mo, ganyan,
Mm, mm.
pinutol yung puno ng kapitbahay, hanggang ngayon, yung kapitbahay na yon kaaway pa rin ng ninuno mo, or mga ganon. Even ganon. So, it was like that. And then I said, how do you access that, di ba? How do you access past?
Yes.
And how do you get answers? So, parang sabi ko, nako, kailangan ng Lemurian ito. So, yun, meron Lemurian and then I bought a nice Lemurian. Actually, una na-attract pa ako sa kanya kasi maganda lang talaga siya. Pero parang for me, okay, it's time to do the work. Let's do the work. And then I realized na parang when I was working with the Lemurian, to answer my questions from the past, I had to realize first that yung pina-realize sa akin ng Lemurian is that there are reasons why my ancestors did this or did that. Alam mo yon.
Okay.
Hindi lang masama yung ugali nila. Parang ganun.
Mm,
It's more of like parang they had to protect themselves. It's a form of protection. It's a form of what do you call this? An ability to shut off any parang energies naman for them. Parang okay, nakipag-away, sample na lang, nakipag-away kunyari siya sa kapitbahay
Oo.
kasi hanggang ngayon yung mga anak nila magkakaaway pa rin, 'di ba? So parang even if hindi mo siya problema, it's within your line of ancestry.
Yes.
And you don't want that. So you have to cut and cut all those energies. So I worked with the Lemurian to understand kasi parang for me, pananaw ko parang okay, mali yun. Mali yung ginawa ng kamag-anak
Kamag-anak
niya.
mo. Mm.
Oo. Aminin natin na mali yun kasi kaya nga intergenerational karma healing eh.
Mm.
Kasi ayoko nang ipasa. Ayoko na ipasa sa mga anak
Mm.
ko
Mm.
yung unseen burden na yun. So parang cut, but you can just cut it without trying to understand it, right?
How did it work for you? Sorry
Mhm.
curious lang ako kasi meron kaming friend. May friend kami na may intergenerational curse sila.
Oh my gosh, oo.
Again, naalala ko lang kasi sa kwento mo. Kasi pa sa kanya, nasa US siya, may lumapit sa kanya na stranger, sabi sa kanya, hinawakan kamay niya, sabi sa kanya, may curse yung family niyo, sinabi sa kanya yung
Oh
curse.
my gosh.
I can cut that, sabi. Tapos siya parang, nasa mall lang siya, tapos may kasamang bata yung babae, feeling niya parang gypsy ba to, or racket, or
Oo.
iniwasan niya. Tapos ngayon, this year,
Oo.
nangyari sa kanya. Tapos bigla nakita niya, oo nga, pati nanay ko, pati mga tita ko, sa line nung,
Yun Yun what happened like to me. I feel like there was no way to move forward with, especially when I had children. So, when I had children, parang for me, parang, like some people choose not to have children because their lives are already parang heavy as it is. I completely understand. Life is not easy, especially the responsibilities and everything. But when I had children, I said, what are the things that I want talaga to give them aside from, basic, like you're supposed to feed them, educate them, stuff like that. I said, you know what? I don't want them carrying the curse, or not naman a curse, not carrying things that are not their fault.
mm-mm, mm-mm,
That also means that if I go intrinsically within me, I see something that's wrong with me. So shadow work, di ba?
shadow work, oo.
Ngayon, tingin mo, mapapa-shadow work mo yung tita mo or mga patay na or ganyan, di ba?
Hindi.
Hindi eh. So, parang, kung trip mo lang ha. So, I said, sige, let's do this intergenerational karma healing. Baka naman sakali, I will only see the benefit if my children, I would see my children naman when they grow up, di ba?
Mm-mm,
So, the answer is not now. The answer is in the future. But, I'm trying to heal now so that they can have a better future. Parang ganon. So
mm-mm.
when friend says na parang, yun nga, parang meron na lang biglang random stranger na nagsabi sa kanya, I think she should try to heal that in a sense so that she can move on. And she
Yes.
doesn't carry that burden kasi hindi naman siya yung gumawa nun eh.
Oo nga.
So, diba? But it's within your line eh. Kasi what they say that when you're born into a family, or you're born to your parents, you're also carrying the past energies of their lives, right?
Mm-mm.
What they're saying also is that, medyo malalim na to
Okay lang, go lang.
have a, we have like 7 layers or 7 lives, parang ganun, na you regress to, if you don't change it in this lifetime, if you want ascension, you have to heal everything in this lifetime. So that's your job. That is really the life purpose. Like,
Mm-mm.
if you let's say if you face it now, then you don't have to face it in your next lifetime. So who didn't, 'di ba? Parang mas masarap naman
Gawin
pakinggan.
mo na, oo.
Gawin mo na. Do the work now, parang gano'n. So I think that's how it can apply to that. Na parang if someone tells you, if it's very obvious, especially if people are sensitive to those kind of like energies and feelings and ganyan, I think you should listen to it kasi parang nandito na rin naman tayo. When you heal it, then you don't have your kids, wala nang hawak sa
Mm-mm.
anak next generation, di ba? Walang
Oo.
random. Weird na nga
Oo.
sa'yo. Hawakan ka sa mall, parang gano'n. So,
Oo.
hindi na yung nangyayari sa anak mo. And what if in their next lifetime, no one tries to tell them?
Yun nga eh. Mm-mm.
So, I think it's good. I think it's really a good thing. If you see it as a good thing, then let's go. Let's start the work, Parang there are so many professionals who can help you heal intergenerationally. So,
Sige, hingin ko sa iyo yung link nung ano. if possible, kung ano yung ginawa mo. Para I can send it to her. Kasi
Yeah.
yun nga. Mm.
Oo. So yun, yun nga, so when you heal that, so parang, kasi parang sinasabi niya, Nick, it's ano eh, when you heal now, then, or let's say you choose to be a bad person, or it's not really your choice, but you're a bad person to a lot of people, right? Once you're born daw again, like when you reincarnate, you can be a being, like a human being, or let's say an animal with no choice. Parang yun yung ano mo, yun yung karmic, uh, what do you call this? Parang yung destiny mo, karmic.
Destiny, oo.
Parang sa next lifetime, mas mababa.
Because
Parang,
of what you've done, parang ganun.
parang gano'n. So,
Mm.
you could be, let's say, parang what they're saying nga, parang you're destined to become a criminal in your next lifetime because yun pag, by the end of your life, yun yung score mo, mababa. Parang in your next lifetime, it's gonna be a harder challenge. Say you're born to be a criminal. How do you change that to becoming So you have to change that and stop committing crime. And then in your next lifetime, you're a better person. And then a better person. And once you become an enlightened person, then that's it. I think that's where the whole, you know, I think not the trend, but it's what the people are waking up to that na parang, yeah, I don't like this lifetime, might as well change it. Parang
Mm.
ganun.
Maraming theories dyan sa sa reincarnation. May aliens rin dyan, pero sige, hindi na kita ibobore doon.
Mga aliens friends natin yan.
Oo. Oo.
They probably think we're dumb. They really do. Basta in general, like, I think Lemurians are yun nga, parang they're past, present, and
Mm.
crystal. So, parang if you're trying to work on any of those, like healing from the past and healing in the present and future, so that no one is hurt in the future, I think that's what people should be using.
So when you did that intergenerational karmic healing, Lemurian ang
Ako,
parang
Lemurian,
kinuna mo.
kasi parang ano wala akong, yung Lemurian ko kasi may parang past time, like, okay, medyo technical kasi yung mga shapes ng mga crystal. So there's like, in a crystal, there's like a feature in the facet of the crystal, natural dapat
Mm.
that it has grown to have a past time link. Parang slanted, ano siya, yung sa pinaka-tip ng crystal. Meron parang slant na pa-past. Meron ding future. It doesn't have to be a Lemurian when you have a past time link or future time link. Basta it has to be a natural crystal that you can tap into those when you want to work with past and future time links. So, and then there's also a phase in the crystal which is called the channeler, the trans-channeler. Medyo complicated, but the channelers are really great if you're trying to channel energies of higher beings that, like, you're not going to be
Yes.
there, but it's more of like, okay, I need your help, like mga angels mo or
Mm.
mga mo, yun. So it's really an interesting topic too. But yun nga. So when you work with crystals, it's not just of course, the shape of the crystals, not just the crystal itself, but sometimes the natural form. When you buy raw, especially with quartz, meron silang kanya-kanyang feature na naturally they develop. So
Mm.
you can tap into those. So there's also a link for that.
So not necessarily quartz siya, it's just for one kind
No.
of purpose, depending siya
Ako,
natural shape niya.
parang sa akin, parang once you buy a crystal, that's why every time I would post a clear quartz and sell them, I would try to sit with them first and see, okay, this one has a pastime link, this one is a trans channel, this one has a key. Parang may kanya-kanya siyang yung imperfections din. Hindi naman imperfections, but basta naturally formed. Hindi siya yung parang, oy, nabasag, mayroon na siyang key. Hindi. You would really see what a key is. It looks like a pentagon-ish kind of like indention
Wow. Mm.
crystal. And then they say na parang once you have the key, it's easier for you to access knowledge in the crystal or within yourself. And then if you have a past time link, you can work with a past time link. A future time link, you can work with, the future. And then there's a channeler, which is you can channel your angels or whatever higher being you want to call on to, and then to help you. And there's also a trans channeler where it's like a synergy of shapes that are seven-sided in a termination of a crystal. And then yun parang mas ano siya, mas medyo powerful siya. And there's also the key, the imprints. So yun parang stored knowledge in the crystal. Ganun. So meron siyang aside from color energies, merong mga shapes basta naturally formed.
Yes, oo. Tinuturo mo ba yan diyan sa ano, sa Instagram mo?
Ako? Oo.
I mean,
Oo.
oo.
Kasi
Oh, okay, okay, oo.
like when I post something, even just a clear quartz cluster, I look into it talaga. And then I'm like, uy, okay to ah. Parang, so, kasi mostly I really wanna match it with someone who needs it. 'Di ba? Para hindi ka lang, okay, clear quartz kailangan ko kasi ng clarity, tsaka master healer daw 'to or whatever, ganyan. So parang for me, kung imaginin mo kung gano'n na nga yung power niya tapos meron ka pang kailangan mong past life recall.
Perfect na.
Perfect na 'to, 'di ba?
Oo,
Parang
oo.
isa na lang kailangan mo, upo ka na, ito na. Parang gano'n. Hindi yung parang, okay, bili ka ng marami. I really don't kasi subscribe to like, okay lang bumili ng maraming crystals basta may intention, parang gano'n.
Narinig mo ba yung, actually si Mr. yata nagsabi nun na Lemurian supposedly, ang affinity nyo crystal. So feeling ko baka yung past life mo, Lemurian rin ang ano, ang
Oo,
ancestry mo.
gano'n. Sa parang Atlantean energy ka, parang,
Mm.
more on like, alam mo yun, parang what they're saying is like, mermaid energy, mga
Yes,
ganyan.
oo, oo.
Gano'n. So, parang hindi naman masama kasi parang imagine mo kung you really live in that city, you really live in that perfect place where there's no ano. It's like basically what they're saying is like lost heaven on earth. So parang gano'n. Oh, there's a question that says with enchanted places like Beringan. O parang gano'n siya, 'di ba?
Mm.
Oh, parang yung Lemuria para siyang Beringan. Parang
Hidden na city, oo. Pero,
in,
sorry, sa question niya, may source, kasi parang sabi lang, yung sources ba ng crystals in the Philippines, may connection sa mga parang ganyan na hidden cities or hindi naman ganun ka.
Hindi naman. I feel like kasi parang even if like crystals from elsewhere, nagagamit natin, ang bilis natin matap into,
Mm.
alam mo yun, mostly, if sobrang konti lang ng crystal sa Philippines, I think one of the crystals that I've really traded in the gem show abroad was Bicolite, like the Tektite from Bicol.
Mm.
Yun yung hinahanap talaga nila. Hinahanap talaga yung mga, and then I even saw one European seller who was selling it at the gem show. It was super expensive. And like, I'm so proud. I'm not saying, "Uy, mahal naman ito." Hindi.
Oo,
I'm
oo.
like, wow, look at us, man. Like,
Oo.
like, where did you get this? I asked her, where did you get this? I'm from the Philippines. And then it's like, well, I have a supplier, I have a guy, ganyan, ganyan. So I'm like, I'm proud kasi yun nga, meron tayong contribution
Oo.
pagdating doon. Sa
May
ganun.
demand rin. Pero anong use nun?
It's a tektite. So, syempre, alam mo na yung mga parang moldavites and
Mm.
yan. So, very, very galing sa ibang planeta level.
Oo.
Parang, so yun. Yeah. I think marami kasing topic also for crystals. Like yun nga, shapes, at least we touched into that.
Mm, mm.
So just to give a little information also, like how spheres are, how free forms are, this shapes. Because that's like the mostly asked question for me is that why would
Mm.
I have two of the same minerals of different shapes? So I have clients that say like mga free form or spheres, parang symbolism din na parang it's not too strong yung shape. Parang
Mhm.
alam mo yun, soft. And I call it soft polished crystal. So like it has a soft like trickle lang of energy if that's what you
Mm. Mm.
As generator naman, very intentional, very parang directional, 'di ba? Double terminated, can be polished or natural, but it's a sender and a receiver. And then black crystals are for really mostly for protection. It's if a black tourmaline has mica, it's parang reflective material, so it is believed that it sends back negative energy to who sends you a
Mm.
bad energy. And then as you work into the color of the chakra, That's the crystals that corresponds to that. So I feel like connected din kasi siya, like when people like citrine and it's yellow and it's the solar plexus, so banda sa chan. Parang
Mm.
siya, parang gut instinct, 'di ba? Parang feel, gut.
Okay.
So parang mga ganun. So when it comes to working to crystals, there's really no hard rules, I would say. It's like what you feel, okay, get them, but make sure you're intentional with why you're getting them. So parang it's better that way than to just. But I have a lot of clients who have a lot of the same crystals with different intentions, and that's not wrong as well. But like when you're starting, I think a lot of people are really starting to
Mm.
get into crystals. So I think that's the most basic. Keep a journal and then write your intentions for every crystal. And then if you're done with them, just thank them and then thank yourself for also like spending an energy with that crystal. And then that's it. And then hope that you can keep track of your manifestations. You know what? It's weird, Nick, because I
Mm.
was listening to your podcast last night and this morning while I was working.
Mm.
And then Raymond is a act who's
Mm.
a light to many, is also my photographer in one of my food products.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's why when I was listening to it, my God, I so missed him. I'm like, I'm so happy that he's in this podcast because I'm like, and then I got really inspired. Kasi una parang I was thinking, what am I gonna say in a podcast is paranormal? Like I have my partner, I have a lot of, alam mo yun, yun nga, na ano na ako, na engkanto, mga
Mm.
ganun.
Oo.
Alam mo yung tipong ako yung bata na nako-confine tapos nagpapunta yung magulang ko kasi wala talagang makita.
Kuwento mo naman 'yan, paano naengkanto? Ano nangyari?
Okay. So when I was a child, yun nga yung sinasabi ko sa'yo, 'di ba parang natatawas tayo and
Oo,
everything.
oo.
So ako, when I was a child, I was confined for like however many days in the hospital. And then they couldn't find anything, blood test, urine test, ganyan. Basta nilalagnat sobra,
Mm.
ganyan. And then so someone mentioned to my parents that baka naman nabate.
Mm.
So, yung parents ko, "Oo nga 'no, hindi namin naisip yun." But I was in the hospital, so parang na-disregard na yung fact na pwede siyang ipa-albularyo or ipatawas or ipaganyan. And then like days would come, wala pa ring makita. And then that same person said, "You should bring the aling ganyan." Kalimutan ko yung name niya. But yung kumbaga yung kung saan kami nakatira before, yun yung who you call on pagka hindi mo na ma-explain yung nangyayari.
Yes, oo.
And then, so dinala niya sa hospital. Imagine, dinala nila sa hospital. The following day, wala na ako. I broke my fever. That's it. Wala na. Ganong level.
Oo.
But what did she see doon sa kandila na,
Mm.
na yung, saan man
Sa
tawag doon?
sa sa water, 'di ba? Oo.
She saw a lady who is pregnant with one kid. So what she just said, what she saw was a whatever the height of the lady was the same length as her feet. Parang siyang L na gano'n.
Okay. Oo.
That's what I saw. So, we started from there and then they said na parang, "Saan ka ba nagpupunta?" So, tinatanong niya ako. And sabi ko, "Naglalaro lang ako sa bahay." Before kasi sa bahay namin, my mom used to have a garments business.
Mm.
So, sa baba ng bahay namin yung factory dati. Now, I would play at the back kung saan yung mga rolyo ng mga
Tela,
tela.
oo.
Madilim, Nick. Hindi ako takot. So,
Oo.
ganyan. And then, so what happened was when they did that to me, yung alin na yun, pumunta sa bahay after nung nasa hospital pa ako to find out where. So, itong entity is nakatira sa labas ng bahay kung saan malapit yung parang creek. Tapos, she traced it back. This entity would go to where I would play.
Mm.
And then this entity was pregnant and pinaglilihiyan ka.
Okay.
Ganun. So what happened was, I think they had to parang release. They had to like talk.
Mm.
So this lady had to talk to this entity to it's okay, but it's not okay when she's getting sick. And then after,
Okay.
wala na. So, alam mo yun, so parang hindi talaga imposible yung mga ganun pangyayari.
Mm.
So, yeah, yung mga ganun. Even my sister, like, lumipat na kami sa mas modern na bahay and everything.
Mm.
ganyan din nangyayari sa kanya. She would go to a new place with her friends and then would come back, super fever. Tapos, wala talaga kaming solution or di namin alam ano nangyayari. And then, dito na naman sa, very modern, exclusive subdivision.
Mm-mm.
And yung friends ng mom ko within the area said, meron akong kakilala malapit sa amin. She might, I don't know, she can help. And
Mm-mm.
then, punta sa bahay, worked with my sister, held her clothes straight to the pakuluan.
Mm-mm.
While pinapakuluan, talagang my sister like nag-chills, nag-break yung fever niya, then nawala. So even like my sister and my sister and I are very spiritual in this sense. Talagang we believe in those things. Kaya sobrang ingat din talaga when it comes to protecting our energies, ganun. That's why I told
Go ahead. Ah.
siguro
Actually, yun yung next question ko eh. May theory ako dyan, yung mga madalas ma-attract sa elementals. Tanong lang, medyo tisay ka ba dyan? Meaning parang
chinita.
maputi na hindi. Ha?
Chinita ako, my sister's mestiza. Medyo
Pero yung puti nyo hindi
kapote, medyo.
usual, hindi puti na usual. Hindi tisay puti. Parang yung puti na, ayan.
Hindi naman. Pilipina lang
Hindi.
na. Pero parang ako mas chinita ako. I would show my face sometimes in my feed. Ay, not in my feed.
Sige.
In my
Sige, search ko. Hindi, kasi may theory ako. Kasi may friend rin ako. May isang guest rin kami before na lapitin sila ng...
ano kami, parang maboka, madaldal.
Okay.
Feeling ko ganun
Oo.
talaga. Parang, like, especially my sister, madaldal. So,
No.
alam mo yun, very charming when she was a kid. Yeah,
Mm-mm.
so, ganun. So, I think kasi energies and elementals, they know
Mm-mm.
when they can jive with you. Sometimes they just don't have that boundary na parang,
Yes.
uy, ganun. So, ikaw na magsiset. Kung total mas alam mo naman, parang ganun. So, I think it's always been like that. Like, a lot. And I've always had like, honestly, Nick, I was telling my husband, like, if there's anything paranormal I could share, is that I always have like near-death experiences.
Okay.
Parang tipong, kunyari, like, when I was a kid, when I was a baby, I had an older sister who passed away because she was sick.
Okay.
And ang pagitan namin sobrang liit lang. Like, she died, I was already born. She died when she was 2.
Okay.
So, when nakamulatan ko na parang I had a sister, bata pa na who died, I would always imagine na parang meron akong laging kasama na sister. Not
Yes.
alam mo yun, parang
Oo.
when I was single, like if I lose something, I'm like, can you please stop playing with me? I really need that right now. Parang ganyan.
Mm-mm.
Parang ganun eh. Ang lapit ko lagi sa mga ganun. And then ako mismo, like, my sister died when she was 2, but the reason was she had my mom and my dad's parang their blood is not compatible, parang ganyan.
Okay.
So ako, since yun na yung nangyari sa sister ko, she was may cerebral palsy, and then my mom and my dad's blood compatibility is hindi talaga compatible. Whoever the next baby is, kailangan it blood transfuse or else
Okay.
die. So imagine at a very baby ka pa, yun na yung predisposition mo na parang ganun. So I was telling my husband, parang in this life, parang that is the trauma of the body. Alam mo yun?
Yes, oo.
And then when I was 27, I think, 27 or 28, my gallbladder ruptured and I survived it. So yung tipong any minute, magkamali, parang ganun.
Oo.
So I feel like yun yung mga paranormal things na shifts na ang dami. Nasagasaan ako ng bike ng bata. Ang dami. Parang any physical trauma. Parang meron siyang energy shift na parang mas nagiging ka. Parang now I believe that it makes you more conscious of things, of energies, of elements.
Yes, oo.
Ganun. Kasi ang lapit eh. And I've seen people die in my hands. I've seen mga ganyan. So,
Paano? Sorry. Can I ask? Medyo hindi ko ma-brush off yun. Paano? Sorry. kung medyo personal, you don't have to answer.
It's okay, it's okay. My husband knows. My ex died in my hands. He was sick.
Ah, okay.
So he was sick and then he died in my. So I would see a person go from warm to cold. Alam mo yun, parang it's quite an experience that it's something. So it's it makes you as a person see how fleeting everything is. So talagang parang yun nga na naoperahan ako, parang gallbladder nag-rupture ganyan, parang oh my god, the doctor said parang it's good that we caught it or else you would have passed or like ganyan, and then you see people pass and then it's like this. So it's something that it's something that I feel like adds to your spiritual layers, but at the same time there's a physical trauma in the body that is affected by it. So at saka energetically, yun nga, parang after that happened to me, like when my ex died, ganyan, I had to talk to someone who also believes in the paranormal. So she worked with me, and then she had to cut cords because they, of course, parang it's safe to say that they have to cut the cord because
Yes, oo.
they believe that the person doesn't know
He's
that they
dead.
passed. Yeah.
Yes.
So, yun, parang ganun. Kasi parang what was he like when he was dying? He was struggling. He was trying to live. So, of
Mm-mm.
course, the paranormal expert that she is, she said na I don't see him knowing that he's gone.
Mm-mm.
So we have to cut. We have to cut a lot. And we really have to cut a lot or else it's gonna affect your health. Like
Yes.
physical health.
So it didn't affect you naman. It didn't come to that point yet.
Because I think because I was even though the feeling was like grieving,
Yes.
I didn't want to die. Like
Mm-mm.
because parang I've seen death, I've seen like this, but it's more of like this expert was telling me na if you don't cut it, the energy is going to be there, and also you would always have to deal with it. Like
Mm-mm.
you always have to deal with it energetically or like physically, ganyan. And I can see something stored in your body already. So we worked with it. Talagang she worked with it. So parang ako naman go, you
Oo.
know. Not because I don't want to die, because I've seen death just
Yes.
happen to me. It's not something scary. It's actually very sad, but it's more of like um what is like it's time to live, eh.
Mm-mm.
Parang
Mm-mm.
there's it's not that I'm gonna die right away, but I want a better life after this. So yun yung ginawa niya. Yun yung parang ginawa niya na she had to cut, and then she can still see it. So we had like a few sessions where it's like I'm always what's interesting is that
Mm.
when I was looking at your podcast, there's so many parang experiences that I've experienced, but hindi siya something na I wouldn't say dapat normal na experience halos ng lahat ng tao. But I think you become more sensitive to this. And you really just have, like, when you have those experiences talaga, it's not like alam mo yun, when sometimes may namatayan, ang sad kasi namatayan. Parang ganun. This one felt like it was trying to teach something.
Mm-mm.
Parang ganun. So, um, ang galing talaga. But they really have to shift and believe the people who can really professionally see that there's something that needs to be done. That's
Yes.
why. Yeah, oo. Kasi naniniwala talaga ako doon, like mga albularyo, mga ganyan. Yung mga spiritual dowsing, ganyan. Nakikita talaga nila na parang may connection, may string.
Yun nga yung nakakabilib sa mga feeling ko yung advantage ng ibang psychic over you na who work with crystals na parang sila parang meron sila nakikita in
Okay.
relation to to the energy, di ba?
Like, lahat yung mga spiritual healers, marami talaga akong clients na spiritual healers. And then they also like recommend their clients to me. Ang
Mm.
tawag nila sa akin, Mercury.
Ba't Mercury?
Kasi parang gamot, parang tawag nila
Oh.
ako na daw yung drugstore. Parang ako na yung when it comes to that aspect of healing, 'di ba? Parang when
Mm.
you heal the body, you need medicine, ganyan,
Mm,
ganyan.
mm.
when you heal the spirit and you heal like the energy, o ito kailangan mo ganyan ganyan. So parang ako sometimes, hi, this person sent me and they said that you might have black tourmaline or like this, and I'm like, okay, let's find you that what you need. So
Mm-mm.
sometimes even the spiritual healer would tell me parang, hi Jen, my client's gonna contact you and they need this, ganyan. I'm like, yeah. So parang for me yung empathy ko when it comes to like a person who's being healed, nandun. Kasi ilang beses na akong,
Oo.
oo,
Mm-mm.
nanggaling dun sa ganong sitwasyon. So, iba talaga. There's really a connection between the paranormal and the crystal world because it really, parang, siya, jive. Ganon.
Jive nga talaga. Ako, nalaman ko na lang yan technically this year.
No. Kasi diba parang, you would see like mga feng shui masters, they would always like, they have
Question pala, sa kanila, black
space.
obsidian ba yun? Yung, usually palagi may black obsidian na bracelet? Or ano ba yung iba? Sorry. Go ahead.
Marami, like, kasi sila talaga, they believe in like crystals as parang to block energies or to make a space abundant. Like when you see some feng shui masters, they would say, okay, you have to put, this is a dead spot, put this kind of crystal.
Mm-mm.
So, yun. So they would suggest that, ganyan. So ikaw naman client, you get it. Kasi ayaw mo ng dead spot and it affects the parang synergy of the home, di ba?
Mm-mm.
So ikaw, okay. But I think it's also like they always recommend something that will make the yin and the yang of the place balance.
Yes. Mm-mm.
So which yeah, we can ayun, dun mas sanay yung mga Pinoy dun kasi parang mas sanay tayo na mas lumaki tayo dun sa belief system ng mga feng shui experts na this is what you need, right?
Mm-mm.
So yun. But what they wear, black obsidian is a protective stone, but when you do shadow work, it basically gives you like an insight of the shadow that you need to work on. So parang it's a glass
Mm-mm.
obsidian.
Yes.
So parang you look into
Reflection to
reflection.
yourself.
Oo, ganun. So yun yung sinasabi nila. That's why there's like a lot of, but maraming kinds of obsidian. Like there's silver sheen, gold.
Hindi ko alam yan.
Yeah, so it depends on the but the most basic one is the black one, of course. So because it's really protective. So iba-iba sila ng they're the same obsidian, but that's just minerally the same. So they have a mahogany obsidian which is brown with spots and a lot of obsidians. But yun nga, when it comes to the work, it's the same. It works for the root chakra. It's a protective crystal. So,
Okay.
ganun. So, ano siya, that's why yun yung laging sinasabi ng mga Kasi, when you work on yourself talaga, that's the only way to ascend Yung
Mm-mm. Yes.
sarili.
Mm-mm.
Yung pinakamahirap I think, yun yung sinasabi ko nga, you can celebrate the times now kasi people are trying to not just heal, but to face their own demons. I mean, imagine
Yes.
that. Hirap nun
Oo nga.
diba?
Oo nga.
even like quitting smoking or like quitting a shopping addiction or like it's hard. It's a way of life that you've known and then you have to like bury yourself.
Purge it. Oo.
Ganon. Yun dun naman si Moldavite mapasok. Grabe daw mag-purge. Grabe talaga.
Moldovite.
Yeah. So yun yung marami.
Yung jet, sorry matanong last na. Ano yung jet na petrified wood? Have you
The
worked with that?
petrified woods are basically, di ba, parang mga wood nga yan na
Mm-mm.
crystallized, na fossilized. So,
Okay.
so parang the ano there, parang the power there is that it roots you like a tree. 'Di ba? So, parang
Okay, okay. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
stability, mga ganyan. Stability, if you have stability issues or like you want to be stable, not not how we define stable now, but more of like, just a steady flow of energy where there's no panic, there's no wala. Parang hindi ka laging takot because the external world is really that it's always like telling us to be accepted, or like to have more like this, to have more like that, diba? But like grounding crystals, I think dun ka dapat mag-focus before you ascend.
Yes. Oo.
Kasi kung aanin mo yung ascension mo kung hindi mo naman saan ka babalik,
Oo.
di
Oo.
ba? So I
Oo.
think when people ask me, that's why even in my Facebook, in my Instagram, I put out parang mga readings and say na parang it's better to ground yourself first, so you know where you're coming from, because grounding yourself also is also facing your inner demons, and then
Mhm.
that's the time you ascend, 'di ba? Parang para alam mo kung saan ka babalik, ano yung basis mo, kung saan ka dapat. Okay, dito ako, gano'n. So, I think yun yung best way to start also collecting crystals. I think I have three categories: grounding crystals, ascension crystals, and yung empathic. Kasi ang dami talagang empaths now.
Oo nga.
Yun talaga, they realize na parang, even if it's a paranormal na nakakaramdam ka, or even if it's like your, clairvoyance or whatever, people are now seeing that, oh, ito yung attunement ng human being as animals, as, nako,
Mm.
ito yung
Yes, yes.
ito yung mga senses natin na parang tinanggal na natanggal na
Yes, oo, oo.
of how high-tech all of this. So,
So, yung empathic crystals mas ano yung
ascension, which is yung pag-ascend mo, and grounding crystals. So when people tell me, especially those who are new to crystals, sabi ko, ano bang unahin kong crystal? Sobrang dami, di ba?
oo.
Okay, I have a question. Tatanungin ko lang, ano bang tingin mong kailangan mo? Kailangan mo bang chumel, or kailangan mo bang ng energy pataas, or kailangan mong i-protect yung sarili mo? Kasi even if black crystals are grounding crystals, there's also crystals for empaths. Those are like mga purple crystals, because it targets the crown. So it blocks, like it helps the crown chakra, the energies there to stabilize, so that you can be a better empath, especially to yourself. Kasi parang if people are just trying to, marami kasi ngayon,
Suck your energy. Oo, oo.
marami kasing ganun. So and I even see it like you see it around you. So parang everyone wants power, everyone's like that. Parang you just to know yourself first when you ground, 'di ba? Okay,
Mm.
what I need is what I want, and then you safely know, acknowledge to yourself that, this is what I need to heal, or these are my demons. And then you ascend, yung parang okay, I need clarity. I need focus. I need to communicate better. I need to become more open when it comes to, like, heart. My heart is open to anything, or I become more understanding. Kasi the shift now is that, how I didn't want to make this an example, because I don't know if I'm gonna offend people, but
Go lang.
like how LGBT community is more accepted now,
Mhm.
because there's a collective, and consciously people are accepting now.
Yes.
No?
Mm.
So even if it's still a struggle for some of them, and I have a lot of friends who are still struggling, there's a collective, and it's very, people are more conscious that we have to accept each other. And I really think it's a good time to find your spirituality or your anchor. So parang ganun din yung nangyayari sa spirituality ng mga tao ngayon. Parang people are more open to believing that, there's no one rule. There's no one, there's just, religion is religion. It is passed on. It is a good,
Mm.
it's a good, how do you say
Moral
this?
anchor.
Yes, 'di ba? The values mo, okay, you can align it with that. And you can get together with people who, if you're Christian, you're Catholic, you can align yourself with that. But some people like me, initially when I started doing crystals, I was really confused Parang does
Dahil.
this parang betray my Christian values, or my,
Mm.
what I was taught to do, or like this, ganyan. And then it came to a point where you have to question everything. I was, my husband, before we got married, he's the type of person who would go to a Buddhist temple every year. and
Wow.
stay there for like 7 days to meditate, no work, no cell phones, no everything. So alam ko yung pinapasok ko. But everyone in my community would say, you have to marry someone who has the same beliefs as you. Alam mo yan?
So, question. Naghahanap, anyway, magtatanong lang ako sa next time. So, Buddhist ang practice ng husband mo?
Not,
O mixed?
but before he would go like every year. Parang
Okay.
parang so medyo alam kong meron siyang spiritual anchor. So that's enough for me kasi parang alam kong okay, if I want to spend some like my entire life with someone, it has to be someone who believes in something, right?
Yes.
Which ano bang align kami? We believe in the kindness of people.
Yes.
That's it. That's the
Mm-mm.
only thing you need right now.
Mm-mm.
Ganon. Ano bang hihingin mo? Parang ganon. So, yun. So, but now I think yun nga, parang it's like a collective experience that people are starting to accept other forms of spirituality, which is really, really good. Kasi, di ba, imaginein mo nga, yun nga, na this is what we really need. And then this didn't come because it's a trend. It came
Yes.
because may shift. And just look 100 years ago, 200 years ago, it's a different spirituality that we know. There's witchcraft, where they saw it as taboo or like they saw it as like, mga ganun. But now, it's not like all black, you
Yes,
know,
oo.
hexing people. It's not like,
Oo.
alam mo yun, parang grabe naman kayo, ganun. I have a lot of clients who like, believe in magic and everything, but they're like the most kindest of people I know. Alam mo yun?
Totoo.
So we're coming together as from different beliefs and but I think what I like about most, especially with the community that I've built with Clear Space, is that they're all different. I have, like I have a tita who needs, meron siyang feel, yung may kapres daw sa likod ng bahay niya. So, smart. Ganon.
Anong hiningi niya? Anong hiningi niya sa'yo? I
Papausok
mean, ano binili niya? Pausok, okay.
Pausok siya. So, yun, pausok siya kasi yun nga, ganyan, natatakot daw yung apo niya, ganun, kasi ganyan. So, I mean, okay, go tita, it's a good thing to do. Kasi, part of me, it's not because tita wants the Capri out, but she's starting to accept the fact and acknowledging the apos,
Oo. Na
can see.
nakikita ko. Yeah.
Nakikita ko. 'Di ba? Hindi niya sina-shutdown. So parang for me, I'm all for this. Parang for me, parang it's not crazy. It's not, so parang ganun. So, yun. And then, yun nga, parang yung mga clients ko who wants like protection crystals, ascension crystals, and empath crystals. So, yun, ako yun yung basic three ko na if you want a direction before you start a crystal collection, I think it's that. Kasi ang dami talaga nila. Sobrang dami.
Oo nga eh.
Sobra. Kaya nandito yung mga there's like orgone energy where you put together crystals in a resin. Ang mga ganyan. Diba? I'm sure, I don't know if you've seen those. So,
No.
yun, parang ganun. There's copper, there's copper energy. So, yung mga ganun. So, these are all minerals. But, I also, like initially, I also tested like some crystals with yung parang tester ng energy sa bahay. Yung parang may
Oo.
parang ganyan. May iba talaga nagre-react. Ganun sabi ko,
Talaga meron?
oo. So, yung daddy ko kasi, may ganun sa bahay. So, tinry ko siya sa, ano bang crystal ko siya tinry? Copper, definitely. Alam mo yun? So, parang, alam mo, so, parang for me, talagang talagang, yun nga. So, kung ano yung frequency ng tao, yun yung alignment kung science, parang science pag-uusapan, parang ganun.
Ayan. Question, what would you suggest?
Kasi not just being an empath. I think it's not because of your feeling more, but it's more of like you have a bigger space to receive energy. Kasi may mga tao talagang wala talagang pake. Alam mo yun? Kasi So, I think Sam, what can help you when it comes to your empath ability is to, yun nga, parang isa lang naman ang sagot sa mga empath. Yung nga sabi niya, parang you just have to put boundaries, which is hard in a Filipino setting. Very intrusive ang family dynamics sa Pilipinas. Alam mo yun? Hindi katulad sa Amerika. Yung mga nababasa mo na mga Instagram na post na parang just set boundaries, ganyan. It's easy for them to say because, they live like cities apart.
Yes, oo.
But tayo will live in one household or like, let's be real.
Mm.
We also want to see our elders all the time. It makes us,
Yes.
ganyan. So, ganun. So, I think the only way to limit that is to actually limit time. Kasi nga, yun nga, parang sa akin, ganyan din ako dati. But now, it's like, um, when I realized that my energy is what I also build, yun nga, para akong battery, parang 100%. Ako rin yung nag-charge sa sarili ko. Tapos, imagine mo parang manunood ka, magko-consume ka ng Netflix na hindi mo naman gusto. Alam mo yun, parang, shucks, sayang naman. Alam
Oo,
mo,
sayang oras ko,
parang,
pagod ko.
sabi ko, so sayang data, sayang lahat, sayang gano'n, 'di ba? So yun yung that's how I see it. That's how I also see like when empaths are really absorbing everything around them. And then what they say also in the classes that I've been to, you have to physically shift your body towards you. Like your fingers should be pointing towards you. When you're with someone, don't face them. Like literally don't face them down. Like don't put your like you can talk to them, but you know uh close your like yung hands mo, yung any extremities that can receive energy physically, close them. Like parang yung paa mo daw islant mo paloob, yung mga ganun. So that's what.
Hmm.
And then if sabog naman yung ability mo, the question is, do you really want to like gusto mo ba talagang gusto mo bang makatulong or gusto mo muna i-shield, right? Kasi sometimes parang meron talagang empaths na they really make, they maximize it and they really want to help people. So, but there are people naman na parang empaths na they want to protect themselves. So, ganun. If sabog yung ability mo and if you want to help, or like generally yun nga, if you see me that you can't focus, parang just yun nga, parang don't face them even if they're telling you, and you have to protect yourself with white light all the time. So just imagine your aura being protected by a white light. Parang ganyan. And then ganon.
Hand talker daw siya. Oo nga.
Sorry, gano'n. Ay, ako parehong-pareho tayo. So, hanggang ngayon, hand talker din ako. But, unahan mo na lang din. Unahan mo na lang ng energy. Sometimes kasi gano'n, 'di ba? Parang if you make them feel na, kunyari, alam mo na magra-rant sa'yo or something. Hindi, gano'n din nga talaga, 'di ba? That's what you're saying, na parang alam mo na magra-rant sa'yo, unahan mo na ng parang, naku, baka ano na naman 'yan. Kasi iba kasi yung dynamics ng Filipino nga when people are telling me, like, yun sabi ko, ay naku, yung mga what we see on Instagram, especially now, we consume a lot of like memes and everything that we see.
Mm.
Na ang sad to say talagang nakaka-relate. Alam mo yun, yung nakaka-relate ka sa mga gano'n. And then,
Mm.
yeah, so we tend to to become more sensitive and but sometimes hindi natin ma-decipher kung itong sensitivity na ba to kailangan kong entertain or not, 'di ba? Especially with me, like in my inbox of the hundreds of messages I get, it's always about, shielding the empath, ganyan. So it's not really like crystals talaga. Even my clients know this na before sila bumibili, they really ask. So parang for me, I would always say na first the first line of defense is to know that your energy is currency. So kung alam mo na kukupitan ka lang ng energy ng someone, wag mo nang ibigay. Kasi ikaw rin yung magbe-build eh. I think the crystals that empaths use are purple crystals because it enhances the ability of an empath not just to listen but also to discern what kind of ano ba energies yung ibibigay mo. Ganon. So usually black crystals is to protect you. So black tourmaline talaga. Yun. So if you program that to help you, if you want to wear it or put it in your pocket or like this, may it be a reminder. So don't assume that the crystal is just magically gonna protect you. But it's like, okay, I am an empath, this is my issues. Ito yung shadow work, ito yung shadow ko. Okay, this crystal is reminding me that this is my weakness. So, okay, let me protect myself. Parang
Mm.
gano'n. And then, what they say is a salt bath. So, alam mo yun, parang yun nga, pag-uwi mo sa bahay puwede kang salt bath sa sarili mo rin. Parang, salt scrub and then wash yourself, ganyan. That's what my empath spiritual healers do every time they do clearing. So,
Hmm.
minsan I also have clients na I think yun nga, yung 'di ba sinasabi ni Stargazer din na yung kung maglagay ka ng salt,
Mm.
it's the same principle, eh. Parang
Parang
talagang
cleansing, oo.
cleansing siya, yun gano'n. So, parang gano'n din ang gawin mo. Yun yung sinasabi nila. And then I think with crystals naman, yun nga parang, empath crystals are usually, purple or like, yun nga, protective crystals. I would say an amethyst is also good for very basic. It's a very basic crystal, but, yun, it really, really helps.
Mm.
It also make the crystals as a reminder. Parang every time you wear them or you see them, ganyan, parang okay.
Parang
Na,
trigger na 'tong
oo, ganun. Yeah.
may question si Gray lang. I'm not sure if may na-experience ka na nag-reach out to you kasi medyo clairsentient si Gray na yun nga may precognition siya minsan about certain things. Have you heard of a crystal that could improve this ability?
Prove the ability. Yeah. Kasi parang, alam mo, yung mga crystals, yung if you're really into crystals, you eventually will develop that need for parang first, when you're grounded, you're more open to accepting. And then, pag clear ka, mas mabilis pumasok.
Mm.
'Di ba?
Yes, oo, oo.
Pero kung ikaw mismo medyo kagulo pa, you need to remove those blocks first before you practice receiving. Yun. Kasi ako ganyan din eh. Parang um, what do you call this? They would always say like it's the third eye. So, kunyari, you want to develop it, um, yung precognition mo. You use the blue crystals because it's on the third eye. And yun nga yung tinuturo sa atin na nako, sarad, nako, bukas yung third eye ng anak ko, nakakatakot. Or yung ganito. It's not really like nakakakita siya ng mumu or
Mm, mm.
di ba yun yung laging
Oo,
sinasabi,
oo.
gusto kong ipasara yung third eye ng anak ko, yung third eye ng anak ko, ganyan. Parang, madam, ang tanong, gusto ba ng anak mong isara yung third eye niya?
Mm.
Ba? Kasi yun talaga yun eh. It's really the will of the person na if I want it open or closed, or there's really no way to fully close it if you really have that ability, because innately everyone has a, yun nga, 'di ba sabi ko, Nick, if we look back into our being animals, that's why we feel these things.
Yes.
Oo. Kaya lang yun nga, the capitalism of the world would always make us believe that we don't have those abilities anymore,
Mm.
so that they can dictate or whatever that. But yun nga, so it helps us when we go back to that fact that we are still animals, that we're still.
And we have those senses,
Yeah,
oo.
senses. So if you want to develop those things, it's really practice. Like with me, I'm very intentional kasi. So the foresight that I want, or when I want to perceive things, um is always intentional. So like, yun nga, parang I want to be a better mom, 'di ba? Ganyan lang, basic. I want to be a better mom. So mas in tune na ako doon sa goal na 'yan. So but for someone like clairsentient, yung mga ganyan, mga clairvoyant, ganyan, and they want to develop it, it's really always like opening the third chakra and the crown. You connect them so that you receive and it's clear, and then it's ayan, right now. Yeah, that's why blue crystals nga, yun nga, yung in the color healing, kasi yun yung connection niya, like blue or like ano. Kasi it stimulates the intellect eh. So,
Okay.
oo, yun. So, lapis lazuli, kyanite. You know what's good with this is that they're also communication crystals. So, you're able to express what you see and what you feel. Because sometimes, if di ba parang I've seen, I'm not a healer, I'm not that like this, but I can see some people who starting their journey to become healers, and when they ask me what's a good crystal for this, it's always communication. Kasi how are you gonna express yourself if you can,
Yes. Oo.
diba? And you don't want to be expressing it in a wrong way. Like if you see someone who has like, honestly, like meron akong mga clients na parang nakakakita ng taong walang ulo, mga ganyan. Yun. May mga gano'n, 'di ba? And they're like, ilang beses ko nang nakikita, gano'n, and I want to tell them, but I can't tell them because, wala na eh. Tinanggalan na tayo ng ability to be open with this, topics. So, that's what I would say. Like, I think you should look into to communication crystals
So
because
blue, tama. Jen.
blue,
Blue.
yeah, gano'n.
Ayun.
Maglublob sa dagat. Tama. Tama yun. That's why we're always attracted to going to the beach because it's cleansing, right?
Thank you daw.
You're welcome.
Pero thank you, Jen. Nakakahiya. Sorry,
Hindi naman.
naka-ano na tayo, naka 2 hours na tayo. Pero thank you.
You're welcome. Ang saya nga eh. Kasi parang this is the first time that I actually had well, my clients are telling me to do like a Zoom so they can ask all the questions.
Oo nga, baka nga maganda. Kasi parang nakakapagod lang. Pero yung energy nga as currency, mapapagod ka for sure.
Hindi naman kasi kung willing ka naman to give yung
Well, oo.
So ganun siya. Parang crystals are there to remind you of your intentions and your manifestations. So basically, it reminds you to do the work.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you so much, guys, for having.
Thank you rin. Thank you so much. Dami namin natutunan na naman.
Okay.
Okay, bye, Jen.
Bye, Nick. Thank you.
Di ko muna kakat, baka may kukwento pa kayo. Okay.
Di ba before naman umattend ka parang crystals? Medyo dito mas naunawaan ko to. Siguro dahil hindi ka magaling mag-explain.
Oo nga. Feeling ko, di ako magaling. Ang clear eh. Ang clear naman talaga nun sa kanya. Parang, in-internalize niya na talaga kasi, I guess, naging part of her life na siya. Yung mga removing negativity, I think may mga masasabi siya doon.
Ang purple ko kaya bear, wag kang ano dyan. Yung purple ko na bear.
Ano yan? Bato ba yan?
Oo, crystal. Pero
talaga?
shop, tapos mga crystals na sa loob, purple lahat. Sabi ko, ayun taray.
O baka yun nga. Pero hindi mo pa rin ma-focus ang ano mo. Yung pagka-empath mo.
Sabog lang talaga ako.
Ay, nako.
Sige na, direct. At ako yung nasa kalagitnaan pa ng pag-i-edit.
Ayun nga pala. Sige, okay. Bye-bye, everyone. Ingat. Thank you. A big thank you to Jen. If all goes as planned, we will be having a quick live session with Jen where our listeners get to ask her about their crystal questions that weren't answered in this episode. Jen actually had a lot more stuff to share, but we kind of ran out of time for that interview. If we don't get to do that live session, hopefully, we get another chance to talk with Jen. I'll post the necessary links where you can get in touch with Clear Space Manila on Facebook or on Instagram, should you be interested in any of the crystals they sell. Even though I have a fascination with crystals and, of course, what they look like, I will be honest that at the moment, I only have a lot of black tourmaline and some black obsidian. But I believe a few people on Discord have a collection, from purple crystals to different kinds of smudging material. So whatever floats your boat, whatever attracts you and whatever you feel helps you on your journey. What about your crystal collection? If you want to tell us about it, you can email it to us at paranormalsph@gmail.com, or you join the discussion on our Discord channel where you can flat lay your collection and share it with your fellow crystallites. Pwede ba yung crystallites? If this is the first episode you're listening to, why don't you subscribe either on YouTube, Facebook, or Spotify? We have new episodes every Tuesday, 7 p.m. on Spotify, and Thursdays, 1:37 p.m. on YouTube. If you're starting from this episode, you'll be happy to know we have quite a few episodes you can explore and enjoy. What about starting from episode 1 so that you can join us in our paranormal journey? Muchos gracias to our paranormal Patreons and our coffee supporters. Sunny, Jay, Don, I Am Who I Am, and Enrico. Thank you. What is Patreon? It's one way to support the podcast. I'll post the link in the show notes if you want to know more about it. A big thank you to our coffee peeps, Terim and Ira. The other night, napa-order ako ng milk tea habang nag-edit. Sabi ko, uy, salamat sa mga coffee supporters rin. If you want to support us in any other way, you can always share your favorite episode to like-minded people. Paminsan-minsan yun nga, sabi ko nga, napapatingin ako sa stats para makita saan ba galing yung ibang nakikinig. And nakita ko, as of the last few episodes, madami rin palang nakikinig galing sa Hong Kong. So, kamusta kayo dyan? Huling balita ko as of this recording, medyo nag-i-ease na yung restrictions. Pero for the longest time, medyo mahigpit dyan sa Hong Kong. I hope okay kayo dyan, and kung may nakakatakot kayong experiences sa Hong Kong, share nyo na lang. Naisip ko lang yung nakakatakot na experience kasi naalala ko minsan nung nandyan ako for work and mag-isa ako, nag-iikot-ikot ako sa Mongkok, sa Central, sa Tsim Shat Tsui. Tapos papasukin ko yung mga maliliit na eskinita. Habang walang tao, magpipicture ako. Tapos very ibang-iba yung feel talaga ng small streets sa Hong Kong eh. Iniisip ko minsan baka makapicture ako ng multo. O baka makita ko si Jackie Chan, Chow Yun-fat, or si Jet Li. Umaasa lang naman. So para sa mga Hong Konger dyan, paramdam naman kayo sa FB, Twitter, or Discord. Makiki-hire lang ako sa inyo. The Paranormal Podcast is engineered and produced by F90 Productions. I hope if you have the time, you can leave us a review on Spotify. Kayo na kung anong gusto nyo magbigay ng review. Or whatever your preferred podcast delivery platform is. YouTube, Facebook, whatever. Kasi, sa totoo lang, every like, every share, you subscribe. It helps the podcast grow. And mas marami tayo naabot na tao who might need to hear some of the stuff we've been talking about. So thank you to everyone for listening. Thank you for supporting the podcast. And please stay safe. Na-realize ko lang after nung editing, ang dami ko pa palang tanong sa mga crystals. Meron ako isang buong notepad pala ng mga questions na hindi ko natanong, like, paano mo malalaman if authentic yung crystal or baka glass lang? Ang crystal ba may gabay na kasama minsan or wala? Paano mo linisin yung iba-ibang crystals, di ba? May crystal ba na may ward against kulam, barang, or palipad hangin, di ba? Ang dami ko palang hindi natanong. Anyway, let's see kung ma-invite pa natin si Jen or kung may iba tayong crystal dealer na makausap. Ang naaliw lang ako sa mga kwento ng iba't ibang nagko-collect ng crystals, and na-mention rin ni Jen, yung minsan parang may hatak yung crystal sa iyo pag nakita mo. I mean, sabi niya, di ba, pag nakita sa Instagram, biglang sinasabi ng iba, may certain hatak, may certain pull sa akin eh. So naisip ko, wow, parang Shopee experience ko lang pala yan. Pag may nakita akong anik-anik na super gusto ko, parang kinakausap akong,
bilhin mo na ako. Buy na. Add to cart na.
yung ibang LL peeps dyan, ano bang experience nyo sa pagbibili ng crystals? Meron bang tumatawag sa inyo? Inaakit ka ba? I mean, may ganung levels ba? Or nadadala kayo sa kislap ng mga bat ng crystal? I mean, not to discount your experience pero sa akin kasi more of functional siya. Na dahil nga sa nakwento ni Miss Star, so bit-bit ko lang talaga palagi para lang sigurado. So I'm not sure if sa iba sa inyo, ano ba yung experience? Baka gusto nyo share, ano yung experience pag nakikita nyo ibang crystals na parang, uy, gusto ko to uy, parang tinatawag ako, ganun, di ba? Actually, yun yung magandang question rin dyan sa mga LL dyan. Tinanong ko rin kay Jen yun, di ba? Ano yung EDCC nyo? Everyday Carry Crystals, di ba? Share naman nyo dyan para magka-insight tayo sa iba-ibang gamit ng mga tao. Kasi baka meron kayong ginagamit na, uy, parang kailangan ko rin sa life ko. So parang, share nyo lang. Flatlane nyo na lang. Dagdag knowledge na naman to para sa ating mga manhid. At walang nakikita. Tandaan nyo, knowledge is power. And
Knowing is half the battle.